in South Carolina because of the flag. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
After logging onto the Xbox One game console at one of his classmates' homes, 12-year-old Michael Cutler admitted to reporters this week that he really does not have the slightest clue about what his friend's name could be.
I mean, his name might be Brian. No, wait, Brian's my other friend, the one with the PS4. Yeah, if I'm being totally honest, there's no way I can tell you his name. Not a chance.
Noting that the boy had, quote, an absolutely huge HD TV and a bunch of games his mom won't let him play, Cutler confirmed that he could recall only the faintest details about his friend, including the fact that his mother makes chocolate chip cookies and that he has a dog of some kind.
He's got Killer Instinct, Assassin's Creed, Battlefield 4, and Titanfall? Man, that game's awesome. Anyway, I've just been calling him Flamethrower because that's his gamer tag. Hopefully he doesn't catch on. Hey, can I stick around for a few more hours? I'm so close to beating this.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome to Free Talk Live. Join us here on the radio waves at 855 453. Oh, hey, that was me talking to myself there. And now that's gone, and now it's back. I don't know why that's happening. Oh, it's a satellite feed. Sorry about that. Anyway, here we are. The toll-free number is 855 450 free, and you can, of course, join us via the Skype as well. Skype username here is lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, you've got me, Ian.
And King Mark I, your king has returned.
Oh, joy. Mark is back from Las Vegas. You went to Freedom Fest last week, Mark, and you were actually busy recording some interviews, so people who weren't able to make it to Freedom Fest will be able to hear you, at least on Edgington Post, which is your interview series show that is available online. They'll be able to hear some of the chats
at
that you've had.
freetalklive.com.
That's correct. Yeah, if you look in the left-hand side of the page, you'll see a link to Edgington Post. That's the RSS feed that you can subscribe to with iTunes or your favorite podcast client.
It's really the best way to get it. We haven't made a great website for the Edgington Post. There should be, but there isn't. And, we just don't have the time to get it done. I wish there was a website that sort of chronicled all of them, had them since the beginning. But the best thing really you can do is just sort of grab them as you go. Free Talk Live is our Twitter feed. We've got Grover Norquist retweeted my interview of him, and so that should get us a lot of listens on that one.
Did you repost that interview? Because there were some technical difficulties at first.
It was the second interview that
great.
He retweeted.
Good. So, good event. I mean, is there a recap of Freedom Fest? Wasn't there a big debate that was going to happen with Paul Krugman?
Yeah, Paul Krugman and Steve Moore. Paul Krugman, the New York Times columnist, versus Steve Moore, the Wall Street Journal columnist. I liked it. I really enjoyed myself. I can't say that I changed my position on anything. But, I mean, I didn't feel like Krugman was soundly trounced either. Mm-hmm. I think that ultimately it was two guys with positions talking about things, giving their evidence. And, of course, these are smart men. I mean, nobody's an idiot walking around there. And, I got to listen. I'm still of the opinion that Keynesian economics that Krugman purports is, it's abused by the political system, ultimately.
So, sounds like it was a good event. Sounds like people had a good time. You had a meetup with some Free Talk Live listeners. Is that right?
Yeah, we had an amplifier meetup. The intention was that people who I'd like to do this wherever I go, is to have a little meetup wherever I go for anybody who happens to be an amplifier. Now, we can't reach them as well, the amplifiers as well. I guess I probably should have gone through you and the email list rather than the Facebook group. But I'd like to encourage amplifiers to get involved with the Facebook group. And how's the best way to get added there?
You just become an amplifier over at amp.freetalklive.com.
Does everybody get added?
I can only send an email invite. So if they don't respond to the invite, nothing I can do about that.
Right. So I'd say about half the amplifiers are in the amplifier group on Facebook.
It's hard to really say that, Mark, because I have invited everyone to that group who has ever been an amplifier, and there are over 1,200 people who are no longer amplifiers anymore. So you can be in the amplifier group if you've been an amplifier at one time. So I can't tell you what percentage of the 200 or so people that are in that group are actually active, currently paying amplifiers.
Okay. Well, there you go. So
whatever. If you want to sign up for the AMP program, you can go to amp.freetalklive.com, and that's where you can do that for $5 a month. And it makes a big difference for us. It helps us market the program, get Free Talk Live on more radio stations all around the country, and expose new people to the ideas of freedom.
Ultimately, I loved the event. I thought it was great. I am making a commitment now to go back to Freedom Fest next year.
Wow.
I thought it was, an awesome event. I didn't.
How many people attend Freedom Fest?
2,500 this year.
That's pretty good.
That's
the biggest one, right?
Can you tell me any liberty-oriented event that's bigger?
I don't think so. No.
Now, what I'd rebut that statement with is, how many libertarians were actually at Freedom Fest? Because
there are some conservatives there, right?
Yeah, it's a libertarian and conservative sort of crossover event from anywhere from sort of hardline, what people would call people that call themselves anarchists, all the way to just your average social conservative, fiscal conservative Republican. I mean, there's a wide variety of people that go there to that event.
I heard the Free State Project did very well with over 20 signups.
Yeah, I'd heard the same.
So that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
So there's all kinds of stuff in the news to talk about. We've been talking about Greece a lot recently here on Free Talk Live with the bailout proposals and the voting and the ridiculous capital controls, which apparently, according to a story we read last night, are going to continue, where you still won't be able to get more than €60 out of an ATM machine for 6 months, apparently. And there's also the possibility of what they call the haircuts, meaning that they'll be lopping 30% off of anyone's account that has more than €8,000. That's not official yet. That's just what's sort of being rumored. So there's that.
Well, right. The haircuts aren't official, but it's official that Greece has signed, has signed some agreement or another. Right?
Is that true? Okay, because that must be breaking news today, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's happened today.
I haven't seen that headline yet, so I'd like to learn more about that because from what Chris and I were talking about it on the show last night, and from what we were discussing, it sounds like the people of Greece are not going to be too happy about that. If the Tsipras guy, the prime minister, signs an agreement for austerity measures, then he would be going against the reasons why he got elected in the first place and going against the people's vote from over a week ago. And so, therefore, there may very well be violence and, Molotov cocktails and things like that waiting for him.
First off, Chris who?
Chris Not Cantwell.
Oh, God.
What?
Okay.
Oh, God, what?
Well, Chris Not Cantwell, what's that mean?
That's what he's calling himself. Chris Not Cantwell.
So Cantwell was on the show last night?
No. Chris, last name, Not Cantwell.
And this is a different human being than the human being
correct.
We call Chris Cantwell?
That's right.
You're lying to me?
No.
Yes, I am.
Why would I lie to you?
All right. So anyway, the Greece situation, as I understand it, sadly, I recommended that the Grecians go ahead and vote against the bailout proposal because I believe that you could come back to the table and get a better deal, that you never take the first deal as it's proffered.
Yeah, but that's not why the Greeks voted against it. I mean, obviously, you don't know.
Many of them did.
You don't know why people vote the way they do, right? Like each person votes for a different reason, but I highly doubt that many of the Greeks were interested in the austerity measures. I'm pretty sure that's one of the main reasons why they voted against it. That's why people were throwing, Molotov cocktails and tipping over cars in the streets of Greece. Not because they wanted a better bailout deal, because they don't want austerity measures.
Well, some want a better bailout deal, and some want no austerity.
I bet you the latter is the majority of those sums.
I don't know what the majority is, and I don't know how much of a majority. But what happened is the deal is worse. They signed a deal that was worse than the original bailout, and it's there's a lot of sad Greeks right now. I feel terrible for them. It's an awful situation, but ultimately, this is the problem, right? Like politicians are unaccountable. You hired politicians, you voted in politicians who acted terribly and ran up the bill. It's not like you did anything about it while they were doing it, and now it's time to pay the piper.
No doubt about it. And so I want to talk about Venezuela coming up, too, because things are also getting worse there. And so it's very instructive to look at these situations, and it's sad for the people that are involved in them, the poor people that are just trying to make a living and run a business and get by. But it is instructive and enlightening to look at why these things are happening in these places and what can be learned from it. In other Greek-related news, this from Reuters, Greek banks shuttered for the past 2 weeks after a flood of withdrawals threatened to collapse the system will remain closed for now, a finance ministry official said today, declining to say when they would be opened again. So we've gone from a one-day bank holiday extending to 5 days, extending to 2 weeks, and now extending to we don't know when we're going to open again. Oh, man.
Well, it's instructive in this sense. Here's what I'd be willing to bet, that there are certainly libertarians in Greece. And
probably a handful.
Those libertarians probably saw this coming, right?
Hope so.
Libertarians tend to be ready for this kind of stuff. They understand the banking system, and they likely didn't get as caught up in this as the average person who's like, oh yeah, I'll just put my money in the bank. Well, now you can't get your money out.
Right, and don't think for a moment this can't happen here. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. More coming up on Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to purse.freetalklive.com and open an account. Do this right now, don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to purse.freetalklive.com right now and get signed up and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 25% off of everything on Amazon through purse.freetalklive.com. It's purse.freetalklive.com.
Is negative content or comments on the web affecting your personal or professional reputation? Unfavorable comments, embarrassing pictures, videos, legal documents, and bad tweets can ruin your personal life, your career, or your business. It happens a lot, and it's just not fair. But what can you do? Reputation.com can protect your good name. Get a free consultation now at 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Call right now for a free expert reputation analysis. It's easy to squash the unfair attacks with our patented system, and the analysis is absolutely free. Make the best things about you jump out in searches. Protect your personal and professional reputation, your business, and your income. Get your free reputation analysis from Reputation.com right now. Call 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 70% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. From demonstrations and vigils to outreach and volunteering, there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a Liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State. Or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
We're back with more Free Talk Live. We're talking about the situation in Greece. Also, the economics scene in Venezuela is getting more dire with the inflation rate there going absolutely insane, more so than it had been. Well, it had already been pretty bad, but now it's getting worse. We can talk more about what's happening there, and of course, you're welcome to join us and bring up anything that's on your mind. Price of Bitcoin over the last several weeks has been... It's been going up generally. Now, apparently, Mark, you said it dipped down a little bit today. I haven't been watching
I think
it.
right now it's at 285.
I was going to say I haven't watched it like a hawk today, but yeah, I see that. It's 291 according to BitcoinAverage.com. But it looked like
I'd expect to rise up to 300 in the relatively near future.
It was over 300 for a couple of days, and then earlier today it fell off a cliff down from like 305 to 285. So it's recovered a little bit from that cliff. But maybe it's the situation in Greece that is a factor into why Bitcoin has been going up in price over the last several weeks.
I was bearish on Bitcoin, not as a technology. As a technology, I'm bullish on it, but I was bearish on Bitcoin's pricing for the last few months. I've changed my mind, and I believe that pretty much anything that you get a Bitcoin at now is on sale.
Bearish means you're not in favor of it?
As an investment, I was not in favor of Bitcoin for the last couple of months.
Okay,
but that doesn't mean that I'm not in favor of it as a technology.
How come the name got the bear name?
Because bears are grumpy. They
oh really?
They move back and forth. They lumber along. They and bulls charge forward.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Interesting. So in New York, they have the bull statue. You won't find a bear statue. Bears can make money too. You know, you're shorting things.
Gotcha. Yeah, you've told me something about that.
Money to be made either way.
Here's how you can get some Bitcoin. I don't know if you're going to make money. You obviously should only invest what you can afford to lose, right? So
absolutely.
You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or in several months, but. You do know that Bitcoin works well, and it is and if you don't know this yet, then you should research it because it does work very, very well, and that's why companies all over the place are accepting it, and that's why people are bailing out of the euro in Greece, and they're getting Bitcoin if they can possibly do so. You can do that. Now, if you're in Greece, you can't use ExpressCoin. You can only use ExpressCoin from the U.S. or Canada, but they can help you out with Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Dogecoin. It's fast, safe, easy, and inexpensive. And they're a licensed money services business. You can get cryptocurrency with a money order or a check. It's so simple. Just go to expresscoin.com. You can even do it from your smartphone via their app, which you can download also at expresscoin.com. And don't forget to use coupon code FTL. You'll save on up to $40 worth of cryptocurrency. You'll save as in you pay no transfer fee to change from cash into Bitcoins. If you keep it under $40. If you go over $40, it's a mere 3%, I think, last time I looked, which is very, very affordable. I don't think you'll find a better rate. Go to expresscoin.com, coupon code FTL, like Free Talk Live. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. We've got Mark. He's listening in St. George, Utah to KZNU. Hello, Mark. Mark in St. George.
Hello.
Whoa, hey there.
Yeah, what I would like to talk about is, oh, hey, sorry about that. Don't stand on you. But anyway, what I was mentioning was, you talk about being a bear, but you can't be a bear in China because you're not allowed to sell stocks.
Oh, is that
for
so?
the most
Wow.
part. They have locked up their stock market, and sell orders are banned. You can only purchase.
Huh.
For the
is
most
this a
part.
new,
I mean,
is
you
this like
can,
a new
but
development?
It's limited. It's just like trying to take. Oh, well, the Chinese stock market has lost 33% of its value in the last 30 days. They
Yeah.
lost almost $4 trillion in value.
Yes, China
30 days.
and Greece are right in
So
the
they
news
have
right now.
put
Yeah.
stops on the market.
Huh. Okay.
Right. They have put stops on the trades. They closed the markets. You know, I could see that happening here in a heartbeat. More
That's
than I could ever
interesting.
see the banks closing, I would see the stock market. I mean,
So you can, just to
isn't
be
it funny
clear,
we had
what
a
you're
glitch
saying
to
is in
shut down all
China,
floor trading?
what you're saying is in China, you can only buy a stock. You cannot sell the stocks that you've already purchased. What's the point?
Correct. And you are not shorting of stocks as a future trade is banned.
Isn't the whole point
for
of
certain
buying
individuals, specifically for retail?
isn't the whole point of buying stocks to sort of take a gamble on what's going to happen with that company, so you can sort of cash out at some point? Is by refusing to allow people to sell the stock? Is that China's government basically saying, well, you know, this is just to show your support for a company, and that you have to stay with them forever?
Yeah, well, that's basically. I mean, when you have a government like theirs that has total control over everything economically in the country, but we do too, and ours, the Federal Reserve, has complete oversight over the economics of our country. Don't forget that we also had a complete shutdown of all floor trading of the stock market due to an electronic glitch for 4 hours last week.
Yeah, that was awfully suspicious. Hey, Mark, thanks for the call
it
tonight.
could
I appreciate it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. There's just such a delay on that line. It was almost intolerable to me. Our toll, not your fault, though, Mark. 855-450-FREE. Also, we've got Skype. You can Skype into the show at username LRN.FM. Have you ever called, I don't know if it happens on like landlines or whatever, but on voice over IP, sometimes I'll call like Hawaii or Alaska, and it will be a brutal delay, like seconds long before what you speak hits their ears, and then they process it, and then they speak again. I mean, it's really frustrating.
Yeah, indeed it is. But you know, this is the problem with being an open line show is we take calls. We try to take calls from everybody. The difficulty is that we don't have somebody checking for sound, right?
No, we do. We've got board operators.
Have you ever had a board operator stop somebody from talking because of the sound quality? I mean, does that happen?
I would hope so. I would hope they would be screening out people that are unintelligible.
Okay.
I mean, we could hear him. It was just there was a delay.
This is quite a delay, yeah.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Tom is in Nashua, New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live, listening via LRN.FM. Hello, Tom.
Yeah, I just realized, that a good reason to do away with Obamacare, another good reason, is that they don't need it. Because if anyone is sick, the United States Supreme Court can, with a stroke of a pen, do away with their sickness. Like, look at the homosexuals that are no longer sick. Now the Supreme Court makes it official. They can go get married, and there's nothing sick about them anymore.
There's never been anything sick about loving somebody. You just hang up? I think I just hung up. What the hell? I don't know what that was. I think you put us on hold or something like that. Yeah, I just obviously disagree with Tom. I don't think that there's anything sick about expressing care and compassion and love for another human being, whether that human being has the same genitalia between their legs, I think is irrelevant.
I have no opinion. People should be able to contract with each other to do what they want. If they want to live with each other, then that's what they should be able to do. I've contracted with my wife to, share a life together. And if I wanted to contract with 9 other men and women to do the same thing, then fine.
Well, of course you have an opinion. You're a talk show host.
I have no opinion, sort of. Compared to, sickness, who am I? I'm not a psychiatrist. I can't decide whether this thing's sick or not sick. That's not my business. Their lives are their lives.
Toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. Well, unfortunately, Derek J. Freeman is not with us here tonight, who is our resident gay co-host here on Free Talk Live. He's down in Philly. He's visiting some family, so he'll be back with us.
He's probably doing something sick.
Next week. No.
In the gayborhood.
Why do people have to label sex with sickness? Sex is natural. And people who are having sex with the same sex person is also natural. You see it happening in nature, as a matter of fact. And, of course, humans are also natural as well. It's Free Talk Live.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
You can interact with other LRN listeners in our message board at forum.lrn.fm. That's forum.lrn.fm.
Back now with more Free Talk Live. Plenty of time for you to join us here toll free at 855-450-FREE. And, of course, you can join us on the airwaves via Skype. Our Skype username tonight is LRN.FM. Send a contact request first, and we'll approve it. Once that's done, you're good to go to call us on Skype from that point forward. So, again, join us here, 855-450-FREE. We've been talking about the situation in Greece, and there's more to say about that. Then somebody else just called in to say apparently in China, things are getting bad with the stock market there dropping quite precipitously. And now the Chinese government, I presume, or whoever the heck it is that runs the stock market there, has locked it down in that you cannot sell the stocks that you have. Mark, you said that's been in the news. I honestly, I don't pay real close attention to the economic stuff out there from the rest of the world. But the Greece thing is something that, I think you got to pay attention to what's happening in Greece. It's too outrageous. And also Venezuela. We'll talk more about Venezuela here in a little bit. But if you've got more detail on China or whatever you want to share, you can join us here at 855-450-FREE. And I guess the lesson you can take away from that is that, just because things are the way they are today economically, as far as like, oh, you can go and buy and sell stocks. Well, tomorrow, if somebody who's in charge of those matters decides that you can't buy a stock or sell a stock, then you're screwed. And then you're trapped. Then you're holding on to this stock that you can't sell it. What's the point? I don't get it.
I guess you could buy long term, with the intention.
And the hope that someday they'll open the market back up that you can then sell the stock later?
Well, there's always dividends. If you buy a stock that pays dividends, you'll get money back that way. You're an owner of the company.
Yeah, see, I don't know about all that. That's all too detailed, stocky talk for me. So anyway, the toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Harrison, listening in Boston. You're on Free Talk Live, listening via LRN.FM. Hello, Harrison.
Howdy.
Hey.
So one thing that, while you guys are talking about Greece, I just wanted to note that the French government has really gotten a bailout from all this. The first bailout round, they were holding a lot of the debt, French bondholders, that is, banks. But since the ECB has been taking it over, France has halved its share of Greek debt, so they're making out beautifully.
Is the ECB the European Central Bank?
Indeed, it is.
Okay.
Well, I imagine these the French people are pretty happy about that.
Yeah, if they're paying enough attention. But
what else did you want to share tonight?
Also, I was a little curious as to what other podcasts and stuff you guys listen to. I really got turned at, I grew up with my mom listening to, Rush Limbaugh and was like, you know what I mean? Not really into it. But after discovering you guys, I kind of branched out and started looking for other libertarian, podcasts and publications. And one great one that I found is the Tom Woods Show.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, I'm also wondering, what you guys listen to. If you guys listen to it, I can imagine you guys being sick of the radio, having to be on it all the time.
Yeah, I don't listen to podcasts per se, in that a podcast is something that one subscribes to and then receives episodes via some sort of podcast client. iTunes is one of the most popular of the podcast clients out there, but I actually don't use it for that purpose. But I do listen to other shows on LRN.FM. So I'm the program director of LRN.FM, and I see here on my call screening software saying you are listening via LRN.FM. So most of the shows on LRN are also available via podcast. So, let's say you like Penn's Sunday School. You can go to his site and you can subscribe specifically to that podcast. So LRN.FM is a way to expose people to literally dozens of shows. There are a few dozen shows that are within the podcast lineup on LRN.FM, and a lot of them are really great. But I can't really say I've got favorites necessarily.
I would say that, so I don't when I listen to LRN.FM, and then what I like is the idea of a program director like Ian, who understands, sort of the business, delivering liberty-oriented content to me, because I kind of feel like an expert's going to know better than what I'm going to know. That's how I feel on it.
Well, thanks for the compliment.
Now, but mostly, I listen to LRN when I'm like, what's there to listen to? Okay, I'll grab LRN. If I'm planning ahead to listen to recorded content like a podcast, I'm not going to listen to liberty-oriented content, because I believe I have the ideas of liberty down as far as I want to get them. Now, I might be able to articulate them better, and every now and then I'll hear somebody say something
So you actually listen to a lot of non-Liberty shows to try to headhunt their advertisers.
I
right?
headhunt advertisers on non-Liberty shows, and when I'm listening for enjoyment, and I wish I got to do more of this, I listen to history podcasts generally, and specifically my favorite one of them is a show called Hardcore History by a man named Dan Carlin. He's a common sense thinker. He's certainly not as liberty-oriented as we are, but he does some good stuff, and I like his take on history.
He actually used to advertise on this show a long time ago, back when he was kind of getting the ball rolling on his program. So what I'd recommend if you want to find some great liberty-oriented shows is just go to shows.lrn.fm and just scroll down the page, and you'll find literally dozens of entries. I mean, a lot of them are great, and they're very different in different ways. So, you've got shows like Neocash Radio that cover, the cryptocurrency world, Sovereign Tech, of course, doing the tech industry and tech developments and things like that, the School Sucks Project, and so many more. So it's really hard to pick a favorite because they all have really good aspects. Harrison, anything else you want to share tonight?
Not really. Thanks for doing the good work you guys are doing.
Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. I guess technically I am subscribing to a bunch of podcasts, but not for my own sake. The automation system behind the scenes of LRN.FM uses a podcast client to automatically pull down the latest episode of each one of the shows. Basically, as soon as it's published, my system checks hourly each one of these feeds just to see if there's anything new. And whenever there's something new, it sucks it into the system and puts it on the air. So that's how that works.
So you do have a bunch of podcasts. You just don't listen to them as podcasts.
As podcasts, right. I hear them when they run on the air, and I have LRN running like here in the kitchen at LRN.FM studios.
Yeah, it's nice when I go to get a cup of coffee and before the show, I can hear it. Yeah,
it's important as the program director, and I appreciate you calling me an expert, but really I don't know why I would qualify as an expert. I'm just the guy that runs the system,
Well, what qualifies any program director as an expert? I mean, there's all these people out there that program music stations, right? Like they decide which one, what are the hits, right? And to some extent, it's supply side economics. They decide what the hits are because they're the ones that they play. Mm-hmm. And to some extent, it's demand side economics because people will tune out if they're not playing songs they want to hear. So it's kind of those organizations, those people working together to come up with the hits. And essentially, that's what you're doing on LRN.FM. You're not excluding anyone based on, you're only exclusionary
I'll exclude
criteria.
Based on principle,
you exclude
liberty.
You exclude based on the fact that they advocate for violence against their neighbors, meaning that they're not libertarian enough for you.
Right.
Or you'll exclude based on you just don't like the sound quality or the sort of talent quality of the show.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And so what you're doing.
So it's curated. It's a curated listening experience.
So is there somebody out there that does a great show, that has good sound, that is liberty oriented, that you wouldn't put on the air?
I did pull Stefan Molyneux off the air.
Okay. Was it because of his stance on women?
No, it was actually a multitude of things.
Okay.
But the fact that he used copyright against his own listeners or against a critic was a pretty big factor. And there was some disturbing things that he said about women as well. I think I pulled him before he used the copyright thing, if I'm recalling correctly. But either way, I certainly felt I had made the right decision in that particular case. I felt that he really violated the principles that he supposedly stood for. And I had already had some concerns with sort of the Truth About series, I guess is what he was calling a series of videos that he had put on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And it just seems like, for somebody to believe they are the ones with the truth, just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. I like Stefan personally, just didn't really...
I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say I'm happy about your decision in that area, but...
Well, you can go subscribe to his podcast if you really want to hear
right.
it. It's Free Talk Live. More coming up.
Are you suffering with hearing loss? Are you sick of people constantly complaining that your TV is too loud? Are you tired of asking people to speak up? Would you like to hear more clearly, but you don't want to wear a hearing aid that makes you look old? Then you need to try Listen Clear, a life-changing breakthrough precisely designed by top audio engineers to fit your ear almost invisibly. And you can adjust Listen Clear to find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And now we're extending our in-home trial to let you try Listen Clear risk-free for a full 45 days. With free shipping, we'll even give you free batteries for life. Call now, 1-800-956-9829. Listen Clear is lightweight and completely hassle-free, and it's practically invisible. Call for your extended 45-day in-home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now. 1-800-956-9829. That's 1-800-956-9829. 1-800-956-9829.
Hey, Berkey Guy here. Are you still drinking unfiltered tap water? Does your water contain chlorine or fluoride? Will you have drinkable water in an emergency? The Berkey Guy is here to help you remove these and other potential contaminants from your water, thus helping you drink clean, purified water. We offer Berkey water purification systems at the lowest available prices online. Don't go another moment without Berkey system. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands drink clean, purified water. Join them by visiting goberkey.com or call me, the Berkey Guy, at 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653.
Affordable health insurance was the promise of Obamacare, but for many, the government mandate caused more problems than it solved. And I want to tell you about a truly affordable alternative, Liberty HealthShare. Liberty HealthShare bypasses doctor and hospital panels, giving you the freedom to choose. 100% coverage up to $1 million per year per occurrence, who includes dental, vision, pharmacy, and holistic care. Call 1-800-714-6993. 1-800-714-6993. 1-800-714-6993 today.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
Liberty activists around the country are starting to realize politics alone won't set us free. So what will? At Liberty on the Rocks, we believe the answer starts with living your principles, spreading ideas, and connecting with those around you. By starting a Liberty on the Rocks network, you can make a difference by uniting libertarian thinkers. Find out how much fun it is to build your local network from the ground up. Visit libertyontherocks.org today to get started.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
We're back with more Free Talk Live. Of course, you can join us here if you want. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up here, there's an update on the Eric Garner case that somebody, one of our listeners, thankfully took the time to put on the front page of our website, which you can do too by going to freetalklive.com, and you can submit via our Reddit-based system different possible show prep items, things that you think we should maybe talk about on the air or that other listeners would appreciate. And there's a number of folks who have been submitting things over the last few days, so thank you to everybody who's been doing that. Apparently, the Reddit CEO resigned. There had been major...
so much has happened while I've been away in Vegas for Freedom Fest.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, there was a big upstart kind of situation on Reddit with the CEO I guess, cracking down on certain groups that she didn't like or whatever. And so that person has now resigned. And I guess, maybe people are happy about that. So you can go. It's a Reddit-based system. It's free to use. freetalklive.com. And our toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. So we were talking about Greece, Mark, and also sort of tangentially Venezuela, where things are getting worse. This from John Sexton over at Breitbart.com. It was actually submitted to the front page of our website, I believe. Yes, thanks to Teddy Graham and the number 1, Teddy Graham 1, for submitting this one. Venezuela has stopped publishing official data on its rate of inflation. And by the way, they've stopped doing that for several months. But one expert,
because they don't want to tell lies?
But one expert on monetary policy says the current rate is 615%.
Holy macaroni.
Professor Steve Hanke is director of the Troubled Currencies Project at the Cato Institute. Earlier this week, he told El Nuevo Herald that, quote, the economy is in a death spiral, moving from a bad situation to a worse situation. The underlying inflation, which I'm figuring daily, is 615%. That is the real inflation of Venezuela. The story here says that Venezuela's official rate of inflation hit 64% last year, the highest in the world. At the end of the year, the rate was above 68%. So starting in January, the socialist government simply stopped publishing any monthly inflation data.
Because that would be embarrassing. Highly embarrassing.
A Venezuelan opposition leader claimed the inflation rate for the first 3 months of 2015 was around 30%. However, Professor Hanke believes that the officially published rates have always underestimated the actual rate of inflation in Venezuela. He bases his estimates on the black market exchange rate, where the bolivar has been sinking like a stone versus the dollar.
Here's what I want to do. Dollars are really valuable in Venezuela. I don't know how to get them there, but, let's do that. Let's get together some liberty-oriented folks to get down there and sell some dollars and sell some Bitcoin to these people.
It would be illegal for you to sell dollars, at least on the open market in Venezuela, so you would have to be selling them in the black market, from what I understand.
Yeah, I would probably be pretty obvious as the American standing on the street corner going, psst, psst. But, maybe some Venezuelans don't know how to get dollars. They should work something out with Americans that can get them.
So Dollar Today, a website which tracks the exchange rate, says it now takes 611 bolivars to equal $1. And that's up sharply from just a month ago. Now, it's been probably 2 or 3 months maybe since we last really covered the Venezuelan exchange rate and how the government there has set an official exchange rate, which the last time I looked was like 6 bolivars or 6.3 or something like that per dollar. The black market rate, the last time we talked about it, which was probably in the springtime of this year, was around 150 to 200.
Is that right?
200 bolivars per U.S. dollar. Now, it depends on who you're buying from in the black market. Rates are going to range in the black market, but, this gives you some idea of how drastic the inflation has been in Venezuela between that time, the last time we talked about this, and now where it is now 600 plus bolivars per dollar.
Now, the government's decided to go full-on socialist and institute price controls as a means to prevent this. It's only sped its decline.
Right. There's runs on the stores. It's impossible to get the basic staples for life like soap and chicken and things like that.
So do you think this is it for the bolivar? Like, that's it? They're going to have to, that's it.
Well, the bolivar is already done. Don't forget there was a few years back, they replaced the bolivar with the new strong bolivar, where you could get 1 strong bolivar when you turned in 10 regular bolivars.
The bolivar especial.
So, yeah. Which...
it's not nice to laugh at these poor people and their bad problems, but it's funny.
Well, it's absurd economic policy, and no, it's not fun for the people who are in Venezuela who are just scraping by to try to just make ends meet and get, the basic necessities to feed their families. That's certainly not funny at all. Unfortunately, the government there has been. This is one of those things, like in Greece. You can see the writing on the wall here.
Yeah.
This
is
keeps
not
on
get
happening.
Better. People keep on letting their politicians do this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just follow football, be it soccer or American football. I don't care. You can't follow sports and leave the politicking to the politicians and expect good results. You don't.
Right.
Let your employees do whatever they want and expect to come back to a functioning business. Any boss that does that is likely to face financial ruin. This is what's happening in America. This is what's happened in Greece. This is what's happened in Venezuela. I'd say less so in China because, their people can rise up easily against their government too. They just haven't had, they haven't even had a semblance of democracy. So, this is the foreseeable result. Ladies and gentlemen, stop letting politicians do whatever they want. Stop not paying attention to them. Look, I'm for firing them all and not replacing them with anyone. I think that the free market can provide us with better governance than these antiquated organizations known as states.
Unfortunately, that option's not on the table.
No, but
there's going to be someone else who's going to take that role.
The thing that distinguishes a state is it's an organization that claims for itself a monopoly privilege on the use of violence in a given landmass. People fundamentally understand that, and in order to save face for themselves, they don't want to look like cowards. They just then say, "Oh, there's nothing we can do." Well, that's that. Sorry, but this is the foreseeable result of that behavior.
So what percentage does inflation have to be at to be considered hyperinflation?
I don't know, but
because 600%
well qualifies.
I was going to say, it seems like that's a lot. In fact, there's a real-world result of Venezuelan hyperinflation highlighted by the BBC's Daniel Pardo in a video report published on Tuesday. Pardo tallied the cost of ingredients for a simple Venezuelan sandwich called an arepa. 2 weeks later, Pardo bought the same ingredients and found that the price had...
Oh, I'm just going to say doubled.
Doubled.
Okay.
Yeah.
A week later?
1 week later.
Wow.
For over a year, there have been reports of shortages on basic staples in Venezuela, forcing people to line up for hours to find items like...
This is a sandwich.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's probably the equivalent of what we would have called a poor boy,
Mm-hmm.
Just a sandwich.
Lining up for hours to find basic items like bread, milk, soap, and toilet paper. When video of the lines began to circulate, the government made it illegal to line up outside.
No more pictures.
Forcing
no more
the
lining
lines
up.
Out of sight.
This is what they do.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This is also the foreseeable result. When an organization that claims for itself the monopoly privilege on the use of violence in a given landmass is doing poorly, is it going to change its methods?
No, it's going to brush it under the rug.
They're philosophically driven. They're going to say, "Viva la socialism for all! Get your butt back in the house or we'll shoot you in the face." Right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's what all of these governments, every last one of them, is a socialist organization. They claim for themselves dominion over the means of production because the means of production are land and people's bodies, right? I mean, really, there's nothing else out there that didn't come from the earth or from labor. And so if you tax income, income is the result of your labor, so therefore you're taxing people's bodies, the fruits of their labor. And if you tax property, then you're claiming dominion. You're claiming ownership over those things. Every state out there is a socialist organization. George Bush was a socialist. Ronald Reagan, socialist. All of them. That's the definition.
If you are the opposition in Venezuela, you're in trouble, at least if you're Leopoldo Lopez. He's been in a military prison held on trumped-up charges since last February. So you can't go up against the establishment or they will just make some crap up and
Absolutely. Why
put
wouldn't
you in
they
a
do
jail
that?
cell. Recently, he went on a month-long hunger strike to demand the government set a timetable for elections. Lopez ended his strike last month, one day after elections were scheduled for December. And I imagine not much is going to change in December, but we'll keep an eye on things. 855-450-FREE. You can share your thoughts here. More coming up on Free Talk Live.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you? Or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom, and with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
What's the matter, honey? Can't sleep?
Ugh, it's this heartburn. At night, it's the worst.
Heartburn? Again?
Yeah, I'm done with it. I'm going to kick acid with Rolaids.
Unlike Tums, new Rolaids Advanced goes to work instantly for combined powerful relief of your worst symptoms of heartburn, bloating, and gas.
Feeling better?
Much better.
That was fast.
Mm-hmm.
Kick acid and gas with new Rolaids Advanced.
New Hampshire is under quarantine as walking corpses devour the flesh of the living. Max is 11 years old and surviving alone. Slow-moving and non-thinking, the dead swarm his home. Now he must apply his Porcupine Freedom Scouts training to improvise his escape. Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, or read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, July 13th, 2015. Silver is trading at $15.52 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,156 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $290. Antiwar.com reports administration officials report they are determined to launch a full-scale drone attack against the Islamic State in Libya, including surveillance operations and potential strikes against the Islamic State forces on the ground in the North African country. All they need is a base. That's proving tougher than imagined, as officials concede that so far not a single nation has expressed any openness to hosting a U.S. drone base. Many are said to be afraid that they would be making themselves more of a target for the Islamic State and housing U.S. forces. The Obama administration's recent diplomatic moves in northern Africa, removing restrictions on military aid to the Egyptian junta and declaring Tunisia a major non-NATO ally, are both seen as attempts to butter the respective nations up as a potential host. How successful those efforts will be is unclear. Tunisia is eager to move against the Islamic State after recent strikes, but the obvious vulnerability of the tourism-dependent nation makes hosting a U.S. base too dangerous. Egypt, by contrast, could likely weather any fallout from the Islamic State retaliation, but may insist on the U.S. sharing more intelligence and operational control than the administration would be willing to give up. FPP Radio News is brought to you by Bitcoin Not Bombs. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. UPI reports 5 men were rescued on Saturday after drifting in the Pacific Ocean for days in a small vessel with limited supplies and no motor, according to the U.S. Coast Guard. The men were reported missing Wednesday after departing from a fishing trip on Monday from Tirena Island, Kiribati. During search operations on Friday, an HC-130 Hercules aircrew based out of Oahu, Hawaii, spotted the men drifting 184 miles east-northeast of Tirena, which lies about 1,000 miles south of Hawaii. The men reportedly had limited supplies and no life-saving equipment aboard the 14-foot skiff not equipped with a motor. The Shorong Harmony, a Chinese bulk carrier sailing under the flag of Panama, picked the men up on Saturday after the Coast Guard air crews dropped supplies including food, water, locator beacons, radios, signal mirrors, and flares. According to the Coast Guard, the men were in good condition when rescued.
For over 35 years, Robertson Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports the National Board of Directors of prominent U.S. civil rights group, the NAACP, voted on Saturday to end a 15-year boycott of South Carolina, prompted by the display of the Confederate battle flag on state capitol grounds. The resolution was approved during the NAACP's annual convention in Philadelphia. The Confederate battle flag in South Carolina was removed from State House grounds on Friday to chants of USA, USA. After 3 weeks of emotional debate over the banner, the Confederate battle flag was raised atop the South Carolina State House dome in 1961 as part of a centennial commemoration of the American Civil War. Critics said its placement was a sign of opposition by politicians to the civil rights movement at the time. In a separate action earlier in the week, National Collegiate Athletic Association President Mark Emmert said his organization was removing all barriers to South Carolina hosting championship-level college sports events now that the Confederate battle flag had been removed from the state capitol grounds. The NCAA, the major organization of U.S. intercollegiate athletics, had prohibited predetermined postseason competition in South Carolina because of the flag. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A harrowing situation on Broad Street came to its conclusion Thursday night as a group of hostages were freed from local comedy club The Laugh Up Lounge after a tense 7-minute stand-up set.
Every once in a while, he'd grab his notebook, and I'd think maybe this is it. Maybe he's gonna let us go. But he just kept talking.
Additionally, The Onion recovered this video footage from the cell phone of one of the many captives.
Hey, sir, what do you do for work?
If someone sees this, help us. Please help us.
Micromanagement. You guys are totally gonna wang it out.
Oh my God. Oh my God, no.
Cool.
I'm not a religious person, but at one point I said the Lord's Prayer, and it actually had a calming effect. Like Jesus was standing next to me and said, "You're gonna get through this."
I mean, sometimes you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, don't take life for granted because you just never know when something like this could happen. So.
This is the Onion News Network.
We're back with more Free Talk Live. You can join us here as we launch into the second hour at toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Things are bad, real bad in Greece and Venezuela. We touched on some of that in the first hour. You're welcome to comment there. Our toll-free number again, 855-450-FREE. Skype into the show at username LRN.FM. Also, as submitted to the front page of our website, which you can do just like anybody can over at freetalklive.com. Guy from V submits this from Syracuse. Let's see. There's a story about colleges in the U.S., specifically in New York, and the rules around sexual encounters have just gone crazy.
Yeah, this has been going on for some time in colleges across the United States. I mean, this isn't brand new. They've been talking about sort of weird things.
This is now the law in New York. There was a bill signed into law on July 7th that requires both parties to obtain consent for sex.
Well, I remember these things come in increments, right? I remember back in the 90s, they were sort of debating at some universities wanted men, interestingly, to obtain consent for every sort of advance in the sexual act, as it were. So
that's what this is.
May I kiss you? May I stroke your hair?
Yes.
May I slide my hand beneath your blouse? May I pull down your
Okay, we
pants?
can't get too much.
Right, these kind of things.
detail.
Well, then, seriously, this is the kind of nonsense that was going on. I mean, I can't imagine this was anything other than some pervert's weird, stab at sexual foreplay. I don't get it.
Now, you heard about this in the 80s, you said? When was
It was
this?
the 90s.
Oh, the 90s.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this has been coming.
Now it's the law, according to Syracuse.com and Marnie Eisenstadt. She writes, what if you had to ask if it was okay to put your hand on the other person's butt during foreplay? What if you had to ask again before touching her breast? What if there was a law that said you had to do this? In New York, there is now, on all college campuses. A bill signed into law July 7th requires both parties to obtain consent for sex and each nibble and caress that sometimes paves the way.
Jeez.
It's so crazy. I mean, you want to talk about taking the moment away from sex, right? Like to stop at every single turn and have to ask for permission to move ahead.
Well, I predict that college students don't give a damn about this.
Yeah, that's probably true, but somebody will likely end up catching some criminal charges at some point.
Well, the people are catching criminal charges already.
Yeah.
I mean, what this is intended to do is to sort of prevent young men from being accused of rape when they didn't do it, right? I mean,
this isn't going to stop that, though, right?
No.
I mean, unless you have some sort of record.
It needs to be a signed document.
Right.
Now we have to have college students videotape each other
That's what
having
it's going to
sex.
come to.
But nobody can release it.
So the law applies only on
crazy.
college campuses. At its heart is a simple concept. Instead of no means no, it's yes means yes. It switches the dynamic of consent in what could be an empowering way, says the author
To
here.
whom?
The hope is that by changing the power structure of the hookup and making it law, college sexual assaults will decrease.
What is the power structure of the hookup?
That's what I'd like to know.
I mean, what? Is this somehow suggesting that men have more power in the sexual arrangement known as the hookup? Because I would love to live in the world where men had power in the sexual arrangement. Because I don't live in that world. And I have never lived in that world. The world I live in, women have the keys to the sex machine, and men simply ask for a ride, okay?
Well, apparently you are going to have to ask every time, not just the ride, but when you get on the ride and when the ride starts going and when the ride gets going faster as well.
I've just always felt lucky for whenever I get an opportunity, frankly.
The legislation proposed by Governor Andrew Cuomo and called Enough is Enough
oh, God.
was passed unanimously by the state legislature.
Oh, God. Are you kidding me?
Nope.
I would love to
This
hear
is
what
not
they're talking about.
Yeah.
I think basically what they're trying to do is make it harder for college students to have sex.
It's difficult to find fault with the law's goal of reducing sexual assault, says
There's
the
all
author.
kinds of goals behind legislation.
But some, including feminists and legal scholars, say laws like New York's overstep and risk turning into a criminal someone who honestly misread a sexual cue.
Well, thank God there's some feminists out there that are concerned with somebody misreading a sexual cue and being turned into a criminal, because I've heard a lot of them that don't seem to be concerned with that at all.
The law has also asked college students to turn into a contract what is often a fumbling dance for otherwise sophisticated adults.
What?
I don't know if I'd call them sophisticated.
Who's
but
sophisticated?
They're in college. They must be sophisticated.
Does sex somehow cease to be a fumbling dance? I mean, what? I don't understand.
The law is not a criminal one, but violating it could result in criminal charges as well as disciplinary action by the school. Colleges in New York have until September of 2016 to comply by rewriting their conduct codes and policies. That'll be a page turner.
So I'm gonna couple this with some other information I've got. I've gotten the information in the past that there seems to be a very deep concern about married women being raped by their husbands within sort of the feminist community, and I mean, I hear it all the time. I'm not saying anybody should be raped. I'm just saying that essentially what's trying to be pushed back is sort of by many people out there. They're trying to push back the understanding of consent, right? Like, I am of the opinion that once somebody enters into a marriage contract, that we are now have gone from, at the very, very least, we have gone from that one should make a standard assumption of no to one should make it a standard assumption of yes when it comes to sex. I believe that's sort of part of it all.
I see what you're saying, meaning like, you're waking up in the morning and you start having, making sexy things on your wife, and she wakes up and rolls over, and it's presumed that because you're married that's okay.
Yes.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah, it's presumed that, but I mean, of course, she could forestall that at any point with a, I don't feel
Not
like
right
it.
now.
Right,
Yeah.
whatever. But it's just an assumption, right? It's an assumption from where to start.
I think that's a fair assumption.
So, I touch my wife in different portions of her throughout the day, and I'll grab her fanny or touch her on the back or shoulder or whatever.
Part of the privilege of being married. Right?
Well,
being
I think that it's a privilege of being in a relationship generally.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And I'm just sort of wondering when now do people advise that that's the case? You may now touch me in this specific spot whenever you feel like. I mean, is that how that goes, or does it have to be, according to this law, does it have to be every time?
That's a good question, Mark. I have not read the actual wording of the law here, so I can't tell you.
Have you ever seen women have T-shirts on that suggest that they want somebody to touch their boobs?
I've seen that.
I've seen that too. I've never taken that
I don't believe it.
as a suggestion that I could touch their boobs.
Me neither.
Right? I've never thought for a second, that's what she really wants me to do.
Yeah.
Because I assumed that this was a T-shirt being flippant or whatever it was being.
Right.
Now, this is an explicit written consent to me touching her boobs. Should I just be able to do that in that circumstance if it's on a college campus?
If it's a college girl wearing a shirt about touching her boobs?
I guess.
That's a good question, Mark. What do you think? The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Maybe you are in college in New York and California.
Are things so messed up in this country as far as sex goes that we now have to change the rules? We have to have legislators, let's call them old people. Old lawyers decide how it is that we go about having sex.
That's what it's come to. At least in New York and California, those are the only states with affirmative consent laws, as they are called, and they only apply to college campuses. Right now, there is a movement to make the same laws apply for everyone.
Of course there is.
Can you imagine? The American Law Institute, which helps write the nation's criminal codes, is in the process of rewriting the sexual assault penal code to incorporate yes means yes.
These are written by highly socially conservative individuals. What's going to result here is less sex and less choice for people. This is going to drive people into committed relationships that they may or may not have been, may or may not be the best ones. These laws, if they're not intended for this, are poorly thought out.
Let's get your thoughts at 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
Attention business owners. Do you know the 3 most critical letters in business?
CEO? MBA?
Nope. Here's a hint. These 3 little letters can make the difference between making a fortune and losing everything.
ROI?
The answer is INC, as in incorporation. Because if you're not incorporated and someone sues your business, you can lose it all. Your home, your car, even your life savings. That's why Incorporate.com is now giving away a free incorporation guide to all business owners, so you can incorporate in just 10 minutes. Protect your home. Protect your car. Protect your life savings. Call 1-800-941-1029 for your free 10-minute incorporation guide from Incorporate.com. They don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating or forming an LLC quick and easy. Get the 3 little letters that can mean the difference between making a fortune and losing everything. For your free guide, call 1-800-941-1029. That's 1-800-941-1029.
Friends, this is Alex Jones for MidasResources.com. For more than 15 years, I have exclusively used Midas Resources for all my precious metal needs. Whether it's bullion or collectibles you're looking for, Midas Resources is simply the best. I own my gold as a hedge against inflation. This Federal Reserve fiat currency could go the way of the Deutschmark and the Weimar Republic anytime. In these historically dangerous times, it makes sense to physically hold gold and silver. Midas already has some of the best deals in the industry. But if you give them a call and mention the radio special, they will give you a list of the day's super specials. Midas brokers are standing by to answer all your questions at 800-686-2237. They also have a lot of informative free literature explaining the opportunities and risk of holding precious metals. They are ready to answer your questions at 800-686-2237. Again, that's 800-686-2237.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. More on the way on the story about sex rules changing in New York, California. Colleges are now going to require their students to get consent every step of the way. May I touch you there? That kind of thing. All the way to intercourse. And I wonder if you have to keep asking during intercourse as well. So is it okay if I continue? Is it okay if I continue? It's just getting absolutely ridiculous. We'll continue.
It is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Might I thrust again? Yeah. I mean, it gets absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
May I put this vibrating object here?
Let's continue that discussion here in a moment. Also want to let you know about Next Issue. It is a killer app for magazine lovers. If you enjoy reading magazines, you're going to love Next Issue because you get dozens and dozens, I think like 150 or something, ridiculous amount of magazines, big national names, everything from ESPN to Sports Illustrated to Vogue, Elle, Cosmo, National Geographic, Consumer Reports, Food and Wine, and dozens more. You can subscribe to all your favorites and subscribe to even ones that maybe you've never even tried before, simply because, you never really could justify spending $5 or $7 or whatever the heck. Magazines are expensive these days, aren't they, at the newsstand? Basically, you can, for the price of 2 magazines at the newsstand, get access to a bunch of them, including your favorites, from nextissue.com/FTL. Prices are as low as $10 per month, and you can get all of your favorites and more. Wired magazines in there. I was actually just looking at the latest issue of Consumer Reports, and they've got an article about the smartwatches that you might have seen, in the media. These Apple and LG and different brands, and they get one of the charts that they're known for with breakdowns of what the features are and what the costs are and, which ones are their editors' picks, that kind of thing. And so if you've been thinking about getting the smartwatch, The latest issue of Consumer Reports has a breakdown on some of those. So it's a really handy app, and it's all right there on your phone or your tablet. Whether you've got iPhone, whether you've got Android, they've got a Next Issue likely for you. Just go to nextissue.com/FTL and get your free 30-day trial. There's no risk whatsoever there. Free 30-day trial at nextissue.com/FTL. Go there and read up, way up on all of your interests. nextissue.com/FTL. As we go to your calls and thoughts. More on the college thing here in a moment. First, we've got Jeff. He's in Pleasantville, California. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hi, Ian. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Jeff. Go ahead with your thoughts, sir.
Yeah, I just got a summons for jury service through my county.
Congratulations.
And I've always thought that it comes from being on the voter rolls. You know, I thought that, and I'm not. And so something triggered this, and it came in a name that it's not my title to my house either. So
it's likely your driver's license.
Okay, that's how they do it.
Yeah, well, it depends. So there are different states have different rules. At least here in New Hampshire, and I can't speak for California, but in New Hampshire, they pull names from both voter rolls and driver's licenses. So California could be both. It could be one or the other.
Could be either, right?
I think it's their driver's license. And I had one more question.
Yeah.
I'm seriously, maybe later this year, contemplating getting out of here in New Hampshire because of you guys. It's sort of on my list. But I also happen to be gay, and I just don't know if it's that good where you guys live out there. I know Derek J. I'd like to talk with him sometime to find out if it's,
Here's what I'd recommend that you do.
A dating scene? Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, friends.
Here's what I'd recommend that you do. Check out Flaming Freedom. That's Derek J's really super gay radio show that he does once a week. And he always is hosting with other people here in New Hampshire. I'm sure that the recommendation, I can't put words in his mouth, but I'm pretty sure that the recommendation would be that you probably move to Manchester or Nashua, two of the two biggest cities in New Hampshire. There are more likely to be more gay people in an area of higher population. Plus, you're not far from Boston in those circumstances. So that's what I would suggest. There's actually a real friendly atmosphere, I think, towards gay folks up here compared to some places in the world. New Hampshire was the first state that actually legalized gay marriage through the legislative process. Most of like California and other places like that, it's been done by ballot measure. But here it actually happened through the legislature, which really shows that there's a groundswell
And there's
of
been
support.
Republican majorities since then. Quite a few Republican majorities since then. There's never been.
It wouldn't
as
have
I
passed
recall
without
it,
the Republicans.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
as I
and
recall it. Go ahead.
I do not vote Democrat. I cannot stand that party, so I'm stuck. I vote when I used to vote. I'd vote Republican usually, but I'm kind of libertarian. So how many of those are on the ballot. So that's how I voted.
There's a lot more here.
If you there's an article from Joe Jarvis, and I think his website's joejarvis.me, where he wrote about
joejarvis.me. Yes.
Yeah, he wrote about his experience at the Porcupine Freedom Festival this year, which seemed to have more gays than ever. It was probably the most gay attended Porcupine Freedom Festival thus far.
I still wouldn't paint anywhere in New Hampshire to be, San Francisco, Castro, or Key West, or Sarasota, or any of these places.
This is by no means a gay mecca, but it is at the very least a place that is friendly to. And I'm not saying you won't find people who will be discriminatory towards you. That those people exist everywhere, right? But
I don't. Yeah, that doesn't bother me as long as they don't touch me. You can come up to me and tell me how much you hate everything I stand for, which I'm not political in that way. I don't mind. Just don't touch me. Somebody can come up, and I'm not one of those whistleblower flag wavers guys. So
yeah. The community, the Liberty community, is super accepting and friendly towards gay folk here in New Hampshire, and I think generally the New Hampshire people are also, they're just the kind of leave me alone types. They're going to leave you alone, you leave them alone, that kind of thing. I think it's a good place to be, and it would also be really cool to have more gay, liberty-minded folks here to create that sort of gay liberty mecca, because you can go to San Francisco and be around a bunch of gay people, but they're all going to be gay liberals, right, for the most part?
Yes,
I'm not going out.
Very hardcore, and I'm always getting in arguments with them. Lesbians are really political, and I'm not like that.
So how cool would it be? How cool would it be to create a place where it's comfortable to be gay, and that it can attract other people who also are of that mindset as well. So I think that can happen here as more people move here because of the Free State Project. So thank you, Jeff, and we'll look forward to seeing you when you get out this way. Maybe consider coming to Keenvention, which is coming up later on this year. And thanks for your call tonight. And by the way, with the jury summons, congratulations on that. That gives you the chance to go and save somebody. Maybe there's someone who's going to be – you're going to be selected for a jury who is actually not a criminal, somebody who has been caught with some – I don't know, LSD or something like that, something that is not actually a harm to another human being, somebody who hasn't hurt or destroyed property or hurt another person, that they're just, living their life and they got caught with some drugs. You sit on that jury, you can vote not guilty because of jury nullification. So the fact that you got this jury summons, even though it is inconvenient and, yeah, you're going to have to take time off of work and that's a pain in the butt, I get it. But at the very least, you may be the one vote that keeps somebody from going to prison.
Certainly a possibility on a jury. If it's a criminal jury, it has to be unanimous. And I don't think jurors take their responsibility to find people guilty beyond a reasonable doubt seriously in this country.
If you want to learn more about jury nullification, I recommend you visit FIJA, the Fully Informed Jury Association. That's FIJA.org. They will give you more information about how to nullify if you are on a jury and how to get through the jury selection process as well, because that's the tricky part. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live. We got more coming up.
Anytime, any place, anywhere. Radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
Does this ever happen to you? Moments after you're introduced to someone, you forget his or her name. It's a common faux pas you'll want to avoid, especially if you're a job seeker. And even if you're not, here's a tip. As you are being introduced, and while you're still shaking hands, smiling, and making eye contact, say the person's name aloud. Not only does that make a deposit in your memory bank, it acknowledges the other person. And that is more than a nuance, as is maintaining eye contact. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
Sunfest is on the line in California.
Yeah, the greatest danger is that they're destroying the sun and the earth.
Whoa. Slow down, Sunfest. Slow down. Who is destroying the sun?
The economy. Everything that's happening is a job hunt. It's a job tax.
What are you talking about?
Definitely. The sun is waning, the water is rising, and we need the sun to dry it. When you have an economy that's creating jobs on a war scale, 24 hours a day, the cosmos can't keep up with it, let alone the sun. There's dark Andromeda, which is hurling at us. If you're not informed, you can go out and get the information.
That's our name tonight.
Stop your sexist attack on women, whereas you don't hear anything
You
that
are
the men
so
have to say.
outrageous. Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
Back with more Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here on the radio waves at 855, 450 free. We're talking about contractual sex. That is what is going to be the mandatory rule if you're on a college campus. And I don't know if the rules still apply if you have sex off of the college campus. I suspect that the rules...
I suspect they do.
I suspect they do apply because it will be part of an agreement that each of the college students will likely have to sign in order to go to the school in the first place. So the requirement will be that one must ask for consent, affirmative consent as they are calling it. Yes means yes, they say, at every step of the sexual process. That's the rule here, according to the story over at Syracuse.com, where we're picking up in the middle of it here, where they're pointing out that it's New York and California. So New York just passed this law. It was signed into law on July 7th, unanimously voted by the New York legislature. Not one dissenting vote on this.
That's because, both Democrats and Republicans can agree that college students shouldn't be having sex. And what they're trying to do is prevent that from happening, period. This
ridiculous. You can't stop that.
This isn't about preventing rape of our young, chaste females or stopping hookup culture, which, of course, means that the young females aren't in fact chaste. This is about just preventing this. This is sort of like shoving abstinence down people's throats.
Yeah, that never works, especially with horny young people who are biologically driven to have sex with one another. The American Law Institute is in the process of rewriting the sexual assault penal code to incorporate this yes means yes stuff. So there's this movement that is looking to make these laws apply to everyone, not just on college campuses, which of course would be incredibly, I think, a terrible idea. Lady Gaga apparently has penned an essay with Andrew Cuomo, in Rolling Stone, to gain support for New York's college law. 24 legal
scholars. So Lady
scholars.
Gaga's behind this?
She is behind it, yes.
Oh, God.
Including retired federal judge Nancy Gertner wrote a memo warning against the dangers of such laws. In Syracuse, Mayor Stephanie Miner, a lawyer, refused to sign on as a supporter, while Syracuse University's chancellor penned an op-ed in support of it. No matter what precautions you take, the hookup now poses serious legal risks. Quote, "You look at the legal system we're building, and it's incredibly risky to hook up with someone you're not married to," says the director of the Center for Excellence in Higher Education Law in the University of Florida. He says it changes the rules of the game. It gives the game rules. The national push for restrictive rules and laws comes at a time when...
So hold on just a second. So this is literally about hookup culture. This is not about empowering young women to prevent them from being raped?
Well, this is just one law expert commenting.
But he's commenting in the affirmative, right? He's saying, yay, right?
He's saying this
will
incredibly
change the
risky.
rules of the hookup game.
Yeah, he's saying it's incredibly risky to have sex with somebody you're not married to. I'm not sure what his opinion is on this.
Well, it's incredibly risky to have sex with somebody you're not married with. Have you ever...
That's just his analysis. That's not his opinion about whether or not this is a good idea. Let me go on with some of his comments.
Okay.
Yeah, he's saying it's now incredibly risky in these places.
Incredibly risky. Okay.
In New York and California and college students. So going on here, the national push for restrictive rules and laws comes at a time when attitudes and practices around sex are becoming riskier, says the expert Mr. Lake. And the New York and California laws don't address binge drinking on college campuses, except to say that a person cannot give consent if they are under the influence, which that's a pretty big addressing of the issue of drinking on college campuses. You've had a drink? You can't say yes to sex? Are you kidding me? Because that's when all kinds of people say yes to sex after they've had a few drinks, and all of a sudden now they're much more in the mood. I mean, that absolutely is a very common thing to have happen, but now it's what? Going to be rape? And what happens if two people have had drinks? What if both of the people have had drinks? Will they both be charged with rape? Can there be a mutual rape?
I don't think you're going to find I would love to find the circumstances about how many men are charged with the rape in this circumstance versus women, because I think you're going to find significantly more. It's going to be significantly more men. I'm not saying that I think that this is going to be a tremendous mess. If two people are inebriated, I'll bet you it's the man who's the rapist.
Lake and some other legal scholars have said the laws threaten to make it much easier to falsely accuse someone of rape and sexual assault. So that's maybe a little more opinion there for you, Mark. Lake said college students are already figuring out the workaround to the rules to avoid being caught up in sexual assault allegations. They've realized that it's much less risky to hook up with someone who doesn't go to your school. It's hard to investigate on another campus, said Lake. There's a movement to extend the same consent rules to everyone. The draft.
A lot of people won't date, in the workplace, and it's, mostly it's probably a lot of that too. This sort of the same attitude.
The draft sexual assault law being written by this American Law Institute group would make sex without express consent a misdemeanor anywhere. The institute, made up of legal scholars and judges, writes draft penal codes that are often adopted by states and the federal government. So these are the people, this American Law Institute, these are the people who write the boilerplate.
Yeah.
These are the people who write this stupid crap that then gets adopted by state government. So it's not even that these legislators are writing these laws. They're turning to attorneys like the American Law Institute and saying, hey, come up with some stuff for us to pass. We need some more rules. We need more laws to give more jobs to attorneys, because that's what this is all about, right? That's why these attorneys are the ones writing the laws, not because they really care so much about protecting anybody, because this isn't actually going to protect people. This is going to put more people in danger of going to prison who are involved in sexual conduct consensually. That's what this law is going to do. And of course, more people possibly going to prison means more people needing the services of an attorney.
Yeah, but what a surprise! Attorneys, attorneys writing things that require people to use more attorneys.
Gertner, the retired federal judge who's a member of this institute, has said such a law would be a mistake. If society has come to no clear consensus about the standards for consent, how can the law? She asked in an interview with the New York Times. She and 24 others warned the proposed changes to criminal laws across the country could potentially fill the courts with false and frivolous accusations. And of course they can, because unless you have actual physical evidence of consent, then it's still her word against his word, or his word against his word, or her word against her word, or whatever. It's still one person's word against another. Oh, yeah, I consented. I asked for consent and she said yes. No, I didn't. Yes, she did. No, she didn't. Whatever. That's going to be the back and forth, and then who's going to be believed in that situation?
I couldn't say, but I can tell you this is just one more reason not to go to a 4-year school until you've completed community college. I would guess of the sexual assaults that occur on campus that there's probably a larger percentage that happen to freshmen and sophomores, simply because they're younger and more vulnerable than juniors and seniors, and probably because they just don't understand the campus as well either, which is a mitigating factor in what I'm saying here. But I would not. As a kid, I wouldn't be going off to university unless, as a freshman, unless they were paying my way, or I had some kind of terrible situation at home. Not an uncomfortable situation, a terrible situation at home.
Others say drastic measures are necessary because sexual assault has reached epidemic proportions, especially on college campuses. In New York, 11 colleges are being investigated by the Department of Education for mishandling sexual assault allegations. And then nationally in 2012, there were 5,000 allegations of forcible sex offenses reported on college campuses to the U.S. Department of Education. It has been a year of national questions about how well colleges handle sexual assault on their campuses. Columbia University student became a media sensation as she carried a mattress around with her to protest how her allegations of sexual assault had been handled. Randy Bregman, the executive director of Vera House, was among the dozens of supporters who signed on.
But that lady, the lady who carried the mattress around, it was a false accusation. I mean, why would they even mention this? Yes, she carried a mattress around. She was insane. She accused a man of raping her that she wanted to be in a relationship with. She was blackmailing him.
Our toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. There's a YouTube video that acts out in a not safe for work manner how affirmative consent should work, they say. I am going to check this out, and we'll let you know how much of it we can play on the radio waves. More coming up here. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to purse.freetalklive.com and open an account. Do this right now, don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to purse.freetalklive.com right now and get signed up and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 25% off of everything on Amazon through purse.freetalklive.com. It's purse.freetalklive.com.
Now, a twice as nice Twin Kit special offer from Complete H2O Minerals for all GCN listeners. Get a Complete H2O Minerals Twin Kit with 33 different minerals, vitamins, and amino acids all in a liquid form. Enough for 2 people for 1 month. Regular price $89.95, but now Complete H2O Minerals is offering the Twin Kit for $69.95. And all GCN listeners receive a bonus 16-ounce bottle of Ionic Silver absolutely free with free shipping. A $120 total value. Hurry, limited time offer. Call 803-794-4767 or click CompleteH2OMinerals.com.
We are a survival company. We manufacture our own line of Level 3 and Level 3A body armor. We proudly make our armor 100% in America. We have the best prices in the nation, about $125 cheaper than our nearest competitor. All lab certified, for thou art my rock and my fortress. Psalm 31:3. We are Fortress Survival LLC.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
If worst comes to worst, will you be prepared? You don't have to be a survivalist to prepare for the unexpected. Storing necessary supplies like food, water, and emergency equipment is simply taking responsibility for ourselves and our families when it counts the most. StrategicShelters.com offers emergency supplies and a secure way to store them, and provides protection for loved ones in the event of an extreme natural or man-made disaster. To find out more, visit StrategicShelters.com. While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at LRN.FM.
Back now, more Free Talk Live happening. You can join us here at 855 450 free. How do you feel about this new law in New York and also exists in California that will mandate that people participating in the sexual process with one another have to get consent at every step of the way? And there apparently is a YouTube video that I have yet to actually have a chance to take a look at, but I do want to take a look at that. I'll look at it at the top of the hour, see if we can play it. It says it's not safe for work, but that could mean that it's just got nudity in it or something like that. Although you can't really do that on YouTube, so maybe it's the words.
Must be.
We'll find out. So we'll look into that. There's just ridiculous rules there. You can share your thoughts. Maybe you think this is a good idea. Maybe you feel like having to ask permission before you even touch somebody and then touch them in a different place and then further and so on and so forth every step. Asking permission for that. You think that's a good idea? I'd love to hear from you. The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE.
You know, the law is a funny thing, right? Like, it has to sort of look at things fairly. And I don't know that you can call the law can sort of. So I would call, say, somebody's thigh a lesser included portion of, say, somebody's private parts. Does that make sense? Like, if somebody said that I could touch their private parts, then I would say that they have given me permission to touch their thigh, their calf, their heel,
area
or whatever.
around their private parts, at the very least.
All of it.
Yeah.
I think they've given me permission for just about everything. I can think of one other spot.
Okay.
You know, that might be a bit more private than what I was referring to. But I mean, you know, generally I think that if they've given that level of permission, then they've given other permission. But I don't think the law can call sort of that a lesser included spot, right? Like, the law can't say that, you know, one's genitals is more private than one's thigh, right? Can they say that?
They can write whatever they want in a law, sure.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking that from the standpoint of, you know, legality, that they couldn't do that.
Randy Bregman is the executive director of Vera House. This is by the way, the story from Syracuse.com. As Vera House was among the dozens of supporters who signed on to Cuomo's Yes Means Yes push for this law, which, by the way, was passed unanimously in New York. Bregman said the new law will help eliminate, but she didn't say no, as a response to rape allegations, and over time change the conversations people have about sex. As though there's, in some cases, any conversation that happens before sex. You know, like, sure, there's conversation over the drinks at the college party that transpire prior to the going off into someone's room and then having sex. But is there really that much conversation about the sex itself?
I'm not sure what she didn't say no means. So, for instance, somebody who's in a, you know, alcohol-induced coma or whatever, you know, they're passed out. That person wouldn't say no, but I would call that rape.
Sure.
I mean, I mean, that's rape to me.
In this case, it would be if she was not in a coma and didn't say no to his advances and just simply allowed.
But this is all verbal, correct?
Right.
So she could be actively participating in the ramp up to a sex act. She could be moving one's hands around, putting them in spots that the one wished, and these that she wished, and that sort of thing. But it would still be a violation of this law?
As long as you haven't asked for permission.
Well, thank God for these stupid lawyers and Lady Gaga for fixing this crap for us.
Bregman's colleague at Vera House, Lauren Cunningham, dismissed the notion that Yes Means Yes would result in more false allegations. The number of false allegations for sexual assault crimes is about the same as any other crime, between 2 and 8%, according to Cunningham. She said the New York law will hopefully get college students who often are operating in a world of alcohol-tempered one-night stands to be more thoughtful about their sexual choices.
But you see, this isn't about preventing rape. This is about destroying hookup culture. The politicians are just so worried about hookup culture that, I mean, it's just bizarre.
Well, that does sound like what this is about, Mark. But I have to feel, I feel like this isn't really going to change anything about how people feel when they're drunk, right? Because, by nature, when you're imbibing one of the hardest drugs known to man, which is alcohol, if you imbibe enough of it, you're likely to lose all inhibitions or very many inhibitions, and that will lead to people making choices that they otherwise would not make. So the only way to really avoid, if you're drunk enough, the idea that, I need to get consent every single step of the way is likely going to be thrown to the wayside, just in the same way that, a condom is going to be thrown to the wayside if somebody is drunk enough, F it, whatever, throw that out of here. People make bad decisions. This is the nature of being drunk.
That's alcohol. That's why people say alcohol was involved.
Right. So the best thing you could do, if you were cognizant of these rules as a college student, would be to not go to the party in the first place. Because you know that if you go to the party and you have enough to drink, and so does somebody else, and the two of you might get into a bed together. There's just that possibility at these parties. So are the college students going to stop throwing parties? Are they going to stop drinking alcohol? That seems very unlikely. If you get college students together and alcohol's involved, people are going to have sex.
Okay, so Lady Gaga got involved in this by sending a letter in support of it
She did.
to Andrew Cuomo. And I haven't had a chance to read that. I'm looking forward to reading that and finding out more. But now, consider, I think Lady Gaga truly is a musical genius. I think that the woman is fantastic. She's a visual performance artist, unparalleled at this point.
I'll give you that.
I can't say any better things about her and
I've
her
sung her a
art.
couple times at karaoke.
But I was just going back and remembering, I like a few of her songs. The one specifically, Bad Romance, I'm looking at the YouTube channel here. I've got it as one of my favorites. And indeed, she is smoking a cigarette after having killed her sex partner.
Oh, my.
Now, what? Now, I don't think that she actually kills her sex partners, right? I don't think she's actually some kind of weird Black Widow complex. But I don't know, right? But this lady's going and getting involved in other people's sexual relations, claiming that she was sexually assaulted, some years ago by some music producer. The Casting Couch, having nothing to do with college. This is kind of an understanding in the music and performance industries that, hey, young girl, you're going to have to give it up in order to, have whatever success. I have no idea what the Casting Couch is like. I really don't. We were in radio, but we're in radio in Keene, New Hampshire. We don't even know anything about radio, sort of as the industry. People will say, you know how it is in radio. No, I really don't know how it is in radio.
We've worked at one radio cluster.
Right. You were a DJ.
Well, that's not true. We did work at a small one-off radio station. But
we know about as much as you can know about radio in Sarasota, Florida.
Yeah, okay.
And then running Free Talk Live.
Yeah, we know everybody in Sarasota because we've worked everywhere in Sarasota.
And that's it. I don't know how radio is, and I don't know how music is, and I don't know how television is. I've heard about the Casting Couch, and I think it's it's unfortunate that people will use their power to get what they want, but I know that both men and women will do that.
Sure. According to Cunningham, this is one of the people from Vera House, one of the supporters of this law. She says it puts more responsibility on the person who is initiating the sexual activity. Well, how will that be determined exactly, who the initiator was? There's plenty of times when it's the woman who is the initiator of the sexual activity, but if she was too drunk, because it says earlier here that this law is going to mean that if you are drunk, you cannot consent to sex, period.
Right.
So even if someone asks you, hey, can I do X, Y, and then Z, and you say yes, 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 please, if you were drunk or in any way had alcohol in your system, they're saying that that's not a yes. You can't say yes if you've had a drink. Talk about turning American, nighttime interactions on its head, right?
Let's just incarcerate all the 20-year-olds. That'll solve the problem.
The New York law puts more responsibility on colleges as well to take seriously and investigate claims of sexual assault, something that schools have been known to shy away from because they're worried.
Schools are not shying away from the investigation of sexual assault. It's going on all the time.
It says here they're worried about how the allegations can affect their reputations.
I'm sure they are worried about that. That's one of the reasons they might investigate it.
Cecilia Colsanti is a student at SUNY Oswego, which is SUNY is a law school, if I'm not mistaken, where yes means yes became the rule last year. Quote, I think the policy has good intentions, but to expect college students, especially freshmen, to step back for a minute and have a conversation about intercourse before anything goes down is kind of silly, said Colsanti. And once alcohol comes into the equation, quote, the line of consent gets fuzzy, unquote, she says. This is one college student saying this is unrealistic. You can't expect the college freshman or anybody in college for that matter to actually stop for a moment and talk about sex.
The legislators don't want that. They just want hookup culture stopped.
Well, it's not going to stop that either. More coming up here in moments. Free Talk Live, 855, 450 free. You might as well just go ahead and cut off genitals if you want to stop hookup culture. It's Free Talk Live. There's more coming up.
Hey guys, I'm Tim Baker.
I'm Daniel Brown.
And I'm Sean Stewart. And we are the You, Me, and BTC podcast.
Cryptocurrency decrypted.
Us three chumps love to talk too much, and for some reason other people seem to enjoy it.
That's why we started You, Me, and BTC,
which is your Bitcoin and Liberty podcast.
Find our show at youmeandbtc.com every Thursday.
We also post Bitcoin-related reviews, opinion articles, and much more.
Subscribe, like, and follow at youmeandbtc.com.
Improve the look of your home for less with hardwood floors from Lumber Liquidators. Choose from over 400 styles of hardwood, bamboo, wood-look tile, and more, all for a lot less than other stores. This week, get gorgeous Amber City Strand bamboo for just $1.99 and more hardwood floors from 99 cents. Special coupon savings on all Bellawood pre-finished hardwood with best-in-class scratch resistance. North American and European laminate from 49 cents and more.
And 18-month special financing.
For the floor you want at the price you deserve, visit lumberliquidators.com to find a store near you.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, July 13th, 2015. Silver is trading at $15.52 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,156 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $290. Antiwar.com reports administration officials report they are determined to launch a full-scale drone attack against the Islamic State in Libya, including surveillance operations and potential strikes against the Islamic State forces on the ground in the North African country. All they need is a base. That's proving tougher than imagined, as officials concede that so far not a single nation has expressed any openness to hosting a U.S. drone base. Many are said to be afraid that they would be making themselves more of a target for the Islamic State and housing U.S. forces. The Obama administration's recent diplomatic moves in northern Africa, removing restrictions on military aid to the Egyptian junta and declaring Tunisia a major non-NATO ally, are both seen as attempts to butter the respective nations up as a potential host. How successful those efforts will be is unclear. Tunisia is eager to move against the Islamic State after recent strikes, but the obvious vulnerability of the tourism-dependent nation makes hosting a U.S. base too dangerous. Egypt, by contrast, could likely weather any fallout from the Islamic State retaliation, but may insist on the U.S. sharing more intelligence and operational control than the administration would be willing to give up.
FPP Radio News is brought to you by Bitcoin Not Bombs. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com.
UPI reports 5 men were rescued on Saturday after drifting in the Pacific Ocean for days in a small vessel with limited supplies and no motor, according to the U.S. Coast Guard. The men were reported missing Wednesday after departing from a fishing trip on Monday from Tirena Island, Kiribati. During search operations on Friday, an HC-130 Hercules aircrew based out of Oahu, Hawaii, spotted the men drifting 184 miles east-northeast of Tirena, which lies about 1,000 miles south of Hawaii. The men reportedly had limited supplies and no life-saving equipment aboard the 14-foot skiff not equipped with a motor. The Shorong Harmony, a Chinese bulk carrier sailing under the flag of Panama, picked the men up on Saturday after the Coast Guard air crews dropped supplies including food, water, locator beacons, radios, signal mirrors, and flares. According to the Coast Guard, the men were in good condition when rescued.
For over 35 years, Robertson Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports the National Board of Directors of prominent U.S. civil rights group, the NAACP, voted on Saturday to end a 15-year boycott of South Carolina, prompted by the display of the Confederate battle flag on state capitol grounds. The resolution was approved during the NAACP's annual convention in Philadelphia. The Confederate battle flag in South Carolina was removed from State House grounds on Friday to chants of USA, USA. After 3 weeks of emotional debate over the banner, the Confederate battle flag was raised atop the South Carolina State House dome in 1961 as part of a centennial commemoration of the American Civil War. Critics said its placement was a sign of opposition by politicians to the civil rights movement at the time. In a separate action earlier in the week, National Collegiate Athletic Association President Mark Emmert said his organization was removing all barriers to South Carolina hosting championship-level college sports events now that the Confederate battle flag had been removed from the state capitol grounds. The NCAA, the major organization of U.S. intercollegiate athletics, had prohibited predetermined postseason competition in South Carolina because of the flag. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
While Digital Communications Coordinator Brian Tyler is considered by many of his coworkers to be the cutest guy around the offices of Western Psychological Publishing Services, employees conceded today the 27-year-old is not even particularly attractive.
Brian gets a lot of attention from girls around here, but if I saw him in a bar, I don't know if I would even notice him. Put him next to Glenn or Mike, and then, sure, he actually looks pretty good.
Co-workers explained to reporters that by everyday standards, Tyler would at best be considered moderately good-looking, but explained that given the abundance of unattractive men at the publishing firm, female employees often go out of their way to make small talk with the 27-year-old at his desk or eat lunch with him in the office kitchen.
I saw him walking to work the other day, and half the guys on the street were easily better looking than him. But here, he's the hottest guy around. It's almost kind of sad. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd still him.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live. And we've got something to share with you, some audio we were talking about in the last hour of the show. From Feminism for Bros is what it is called. It's embedded here on the Syracuse.com article about the New York law that has passed now unanimously by the state legislature, signed into law by the governor, that will make it so you have to ask for consent along every step of the sexual process. And somebody made a video about this. The story here at Syracuse.com says it is not safe for work, but we have checked the audio during the news break, and it is safe to play on the radio. So if you don't like sexy noises, though, you might want to tune your kids out, or you yourself if you can't handle that sort of thing. It's a young man and a young woman. They are in a bedroom situation, and he is going to ask for consent to move ahead with the thing. Also, she asks a question or two in here as well. So this is purportedly an artist's rendering of what it would be like in these people's bedrooms when this new law is now in effect in New York. Apparently, there's also one in California. It only affects college campuses. So students on college campuses will be bound by these particular rules, purportedly. If you don't give consent, or if you don't ask for consent and receive it along the entire way of the sexual encounter, then that will be possible criminal charges, even though it's not written into the criminal code of the law. So I'm not really sure how exactly that works. But it could be an indicator that sexual assault was committed, I guess, is the suggestion here, that if you don't get consent the entire time. So with no further ado, here is the artist's rendition of what it should be like. They are kissing in the bedroom here.
Is this okay?
Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Can I put my hand here?
Yes. Do you like that?
Mm-hmm. Want to help me take off my shirt?
There's really like porn music behind this.
Can I take your shirt off?
No, not yet.
I love the part. No. Hold on.
Is you here?
Yes, please. Can I kiss your neck?
Oh, he touched her neck there, Mark, and he did not ask if he could touch her neck. He asked if he could kiss her neck.
See, this is something that they'll need to explain very thoroughly in the law. And it's a good thing that sometimes these laws are hundreds of pages long. Because
everyone's going to read that.
Maybe a finger will be considered a lesser included appendage to a lip, but a lip would not be considered but for say...
Meaning that you could ask if you could touch someone's neck,
kiss.
That would prevent... But what you're saying is, if they consented to being touched, that would not necessarily consent to the kiss. But if they consent to a kiss, that would include being touched.
Right. So if they included, for instance, genital contact with something, then that would also include lips or fingers. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yeah, we're guessing here.
Right,
this is not legal advice. This is not. If you're in New York,
here's a little legal advice: don't let lawyers decide what is acceptable and not acceptable in the bedroom.
We got another minute of this, by the way.
We'll go on with it. I love that it's called Feminism for Bros. Now this is
episode 105, so presumably there are others.
This is interesting because now there are many women, I'm sure, that are in college in New York that would not self-identify as feminists. So what they're saying here is essentially that now the feminist view of sex is the one that must be the one that we must adhere to. So this is a gigantic victory for feminists all over the state of New York and, frankly, the world, I guess, and at least the ones that want this kind of prurient, weird sort of sex where you have to ask for everything, like, might I touch you here, missy? May I rub and caress you there? Right? Like this kind of thing going on. I mean,
well, I'll give them credit. The way they've put the video together, while in some ways is laughable, they do a good job of trying to make it seem like it would be natural. Like that this is doable. You could do it this way. But, and as I pointed out here, we're 49 seconds into the video, and the dude has already done something that he didn't ask whether or not he could do. And he'll do it again here in a moment as well.
Right. Well, okay. So a little personal experience here. I always, back when I got to make out with women that weren't my wife, I would always ask, something, right? Like, can I do this or can I do that? And that sort of established the relationship along that line, and that way she could say yes or no to things that came further, rather than saying, hey, can I remove this? Hey, can I touch this here? And this litany of questions, this
20 questions, right? It's literally 20 questions,
over and over questions, and making them, breaking the, this kind of mojo and that sort of thing. You ask one time, and then when they, I've been told no or had my hand moved from a spot and that kind of thing. That's fine with me. I don't go around pounding people's faces in when they say no to me. I mean, that's a weird thing to have happen. I'm sure it's happened in the world. It's just not me. I don't need this legislation. Thanks very much.
Shall we continue? Here we go.
Can I take off your shirt? See there.
See, now he is. He asked if he could kiss her there, and then he just lays her down on the bed and starts kissing her.
Yeah, just kind of gives her a sort of moves her forward. And
now he's between her legs, and it's very much more sexual now. I mean, she could charge him with rape.
I don't know that that's the case. I mean, hold on. If this little movie is the guideline by which I am to go, what I have been
This isn't official by the New York State. This is just somebody's artist rendition.
All right, then some artist has done us a disservice here, because what this says to me is that, now we can use nonverbal communication in order to establish consent, because that's what happened here, right? Like he is now on top of her. She has now willingly...
She allowed him, right? Like she moved back as he moved in, and she laid down back on the bed as he came over, moves over top of her.
She didn't push against him. She didn't pull out the dirk that she keeps in her little stocking and stab him in the neck. There was nothing. She didn't say anything. She did not say no to this.
That's correct.
She acquiesced in a nonverbal fashion,
which is how it usually goes.
Right. So, what this movie fails to do, what this artist rendition fails to do, is show just how laughably absurd it is to get step-by-step consent, usually probably the man to the woman. But hey, maybe we could try it another way.
The artist
I'm all
failed.
for trying it the other way.
The artists who put this together failed at showing consent every step of the way. They showed it a lot, but there are certain parts where it's pretty clear that, hey, wait a minute, he didn't ask if he could do that.
Take this off.
Can you just shut up and do whatever you want?
I want to juxtapose this again. Now, remember, Lady Gaga advocated for this law, advocated alongside Governor Cuomo for this law, and you and I just experienced the video in the break of that ends here. It's called Bad Romance, with her killing her sex partner and smoking a cigarette while his burnt body lay on the bed. Now, I'd like to compare these two videos here, where the man is responsible for questions every step of the way.
Well, she asked a couple.
She did ask a few questions. That's true.
She actually asked the first one.
Can I go down?
He was really good. I mean, he went down on her, and she was moaning within seconds.
It was an instant orgasm on her part. Well, good for her.
That's it. That's the end of the video. At the very end, it flashes text on the screen. I will read that for your benefit. Consent is fun, it says. Consent is sexy. Consent is safe. Consent is... Oh, and then it went away. All right, more coming up here in moments.
Consent is mandated by law.
Yeah. 855, 450 free. Yeah, you can share your thoughts here on this. Maybe you're in college in New York or California or elsewhere, and you want to share your thoughts. Please do. Join us here at 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to purse.freetalklive.com and open an account. Do this right now, don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to purse.freetalklive.com right now and get signed up and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 25% off of everything on Amazon through purse.freetalklive.com. It's purse.freetalklive.com.
Hi, Peter Vaccaro for ParanormalDate.com. Are you looking for love in all the wrong places? Now you have a chance to change that by signing up for free at ParanormalDate.com. This incredible dating site puts people of like minds together. People who are interested in the strange, the unusual, mysteries, ghosts, UFOs, and the afterlife, and so much more. ParanormalDate.com was developed for you, people seeking a viable alternative to the other dating services. You can join for free by going to ParanormalDate.com, and if you decide you like it and want to connect with people, use the code GEORGE for a substantial discount. Mark Rawlings, president of ParanormalDate.com, says so many people hunger to share their experiences about the paranormal, the unexplainable, or the afterlife, and so much more, and this is the source for them to meet and share that common interest. So sign up for free at ParanormalDate.com, ParanormalDate.com, and use the code GEORGE if you decide to connect with someone you like.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right, General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these prices. A 50 by 100 for under $30,000. You heard right. That's 5,000 square feet under $30,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100 foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait.
Call 800-917-8251. 800-917-8251. 800-917-8251.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Why are you playing a slot machine sound for an online poker site?
Do you have a poker sound effect? Because we have a new advertiser, swcpoker.eu.
Brought to you by the same guys that did seals with clubs.
Now they're called swcpoker.eu. It's Bitcoin Poker 2.0. They have lots of new games, including Chinese poker. The Krill leaderboard is active now. It's Bitcoin Poker from the brand you trust, swcpoker.eu.
Get on over to swcpoker.eu and start playing now.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free here and join us at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can join us online at freetalklive.com and enjoy the features that we have waiting for you there. ProXPN can help you if you get online anywhere, whether it's your smartphone, your home computer, desktop at work, your laptop. If you've got ProXPN, you can get it for Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and Linux. If you have ProXPN, it will encrypt your data connection. It's a virtual private network, and it is global. And your encrypted data connection means that your internet service provider won't know what you're doing anymore with their internet connection. So you can go to proxpn.com/FTL, download the software, and get started right now for free. And when you're ready to upgrade to their premium account, you'll get unlimited bandwidth, servers around the world that you can access. You can privately torrent and get past regionally blocked websites. Plus, ProXPN does not keep records of your online habits. Just go to proxpn.com/FTL, and then when you're ready to get that premium account, use code FTL50 to save 50% off the regular monthly price when you buy their annual account with code FTL, like Free Talk Live, FTL50. Brings the price down to about $5 a month, and that is good for the lifetime of the account, no matter which premium account you choose. So go to proxpn.com/FTL and use promo code FTL50 to get a great discount on privacy that is priceless. There's a risk-free 7-day money-back guarantee as well, so you really have nothing to lose here but your privacy, and you will lose that as you continue to wait. So go to proxpn.com/FTL. We're talking about the new rules in New York, which is now the law in New York, that on college campuses, the students therein must ask for consent at every single step along the sexual path towards intercourse, and presumably afterwards. You have to just keep asking for permission to move ahead. We just played a short video which is supposed to outline what it's like. There's a little bit more here from Syracuse.com.
Are we on in Ithaca right now? I mean, we're on an...
Ithaca is delay broadcasting the show.
Okay.
I think they might take this hour, but later tonight.
Okay. Well, it's unfortunate because I know that's a college town in New York, and kind of interested in what might be going on there.
Well, if you want to comment on this tomorrow, you can always call, the next day. And
that's a true statement about Free Talk Live generally, is that, remember, just because we're talking about something doesn't mean that you need to be talking on the topic that we're talking on. And if you've got something to say about something we said in the past, you can do that too.
Anytime, yeah.
I know that talk radio doesn't generally do that. The talk show hosts will probably not let you play on their little in their playground if you don't follow all the rules. But Free Talk Live isn't that way.
That's true. We kind of break the rules of talk radio in a lot of ways here. Anyway, while New York's new college law spells out that someone cannot consent if they are under the influence, it leaves questions about what exactly under the influence means. In New York's criminal courts, consent is only colored by alcohol or drugs if the person is slipped those substances without their knowledge, or if they are so intoxicated or high that they are physically helpless. The bar for the college consent law is lower. Now, the college student they spoke with, Ms. Colasanti, who had said earlier that college students are not likely to stop for a minute and have a conversation about intercourse before anything goes down. So she's,
Jeez, I can't believe somebody's actually coming out and saying this.
Yeah, she's skeptical here. She says many of her peers felt more comfortable hooking up after a few drinks, but too many drinks lead to trouble. She says, quote, the idea that it is...
this is another thing you get to learn in college.
What's that?
Too many drinks can learn to get you into trouble. And some people in life, I'm sorry to say this, some people in life simply have to learn the hard way. I am one of those people, and
most people are.
Yeah, I mean, you can learn the hard way that drinking has its downfalls by watching other people. You can hear other people say it, or you can experience it for yourself.
Colsanti said, quote, the idea that it is unethical to hook up with a girl who is too drunk is not widely respected, she said. That the blame still rests on the girl who drank too much. Changing the conversation around sexual consent among college students will take more than a year or two. Angie Delgado, also a student at SUNY Oswego, said she gets made fun of when she talks about the need to talk about the hookup before it happens. She said, quote, not many people ask, can I do this, during every step they take, and often lots of alcohol is involved. She said that needs to get more attention. Quote, I can't tell you how many times I've heard stories of girls waking up in a different room next to a guy they don't remember going home with. The point is people have come to accept...
This is what the television tells you you're supposed to do. I mean, this is a pretty common thing when you're watching TV and movies and stuff. This happens all the time to people. I have never woken up in a bed with somebody I don't know.
The point is, she says, people have come to accept this type of behavior, and what they don't realize is that can be considered rape. So it's getting to be a very dangerous territory in New York and California to even have sexual intercourse with another human being. I would say that I agree with the analysis of some of these legal experts that it's super, super risky. And, if you can't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you got consent at every step along the path, it would seem to be a severe risk to enter into the bedroom with anybody at all, especially somebody at a law school.
Yeah, well, I think that it's going to be the rare person that chooses not to have sex because of this silly law. I mean, I'm sorry to tell you.
I agree with you. It's going to be rare, but it's also super risky.
Yeah, it is super risky. I'm certainly not
it's
going to
bad enough that you're risking sexually transmitted diseases. Now, it's super risky to even have sex with somebody because all that person has to say is, oh, well, he didn't ask me to do X, Y, and Z.
I don't know what to say. I mean, this is the intention clearly from what they've said in this from the politicians is to stop hookup culture.
Mm-hmm.
There have many people sort of in the feminist camp have got on board because some young women get raped and sexually assaulted on college campuses, and there's no doubt that occurs. But this isn't about empowering women. Mm-hmm. It really isn't. This is about stopping hookup culture, and if they have to throw some young men in prison to do it, they don't mind. It's not going to. They've been throwing 17-year-old men in jail for having sex with 15-year-old women for decades,
and that hasn't stopped
it doesn't stop it. It continues to happen.
I'm sorry, politicians, but teenagers and people in their early 20s, heck, people in their early 30s, for that matter, people in general, don't pay attention to what you have to say. They're not reading the newspaper.
Just waiting around.
They don't know. They have no idea that you've passed this law. Okay, yeah, somebody on campus is probably going to be posting signs around, and they might mandate that everybody signs some sort of
They might even have to take some kind of little quick class or whatever, but they're not going to pay attention to it. They're not going to believe it can happen to them. That's kind of what it's like to be in your late teens and early 20s.
You're invincible, right?
Well, that's why they have them sign up for the military, right? Because, people of higher age brackets going to be like, I'm not going over there and catching bullets for you. That's why they have these young people, because they're bad at making decisions for the future. That's kind of what it's about.
All right, you can share your thoughts coming up here, 855-450 free. There's also news about Eric Garner. You might remember that situation from, I think it was last summer, where he was choked to death by a New York cop.
Doesn't seem that long ago, but it may very well be.
I think it was last year. Yep, in fact, there's a lawsuit involved here. It is going to be filed perhaps on the anniversary of his death, which will be the 17th of this month. We'll tell you more about it coming up here in moments. What is going on? There's a rejection of a settlement offer. 855-450 free. Free Talk Live.
Now, a twice as nice Twin Kit special offer from Complete H2O Minerals for all GCN listeners. Get a Complete H2O Minerals Twin Kit with 33 different minerals, vitamins, and amino acids all in a liquid form. Enough for 2 people for 1 month. Regular price $89.95, but now Complete H2O Minerals is offering the Twin Kit for $69.95. And all GCN listeners receive a bonus 16-ounce bottle of Ionic Silver absolutely free with free shipping. A $120 total value. Hurry, limited time offer. Call 803-794-4767 or click CompleteH2OMinerals.com.
We are a survival company. We manufacture our own line of Level 3 and Level 3A body armor. We proudly make our armor 100% in America. We have the best prices in the nation, about $125 cheaper than our nearest competitor. All lab certified, for thou art my rock and my fortress, Psalm 31:3. We are Fortress Survival LLC.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
CopBlock has quickly become the top police accountability group in the United States, and maybe even the world. With chapters across the globe, there's probably a group near you that you can join. If not, you can start your own. Besides joining a local CopBlock group, you can also give just $1 a month to the CopBlock network. Your contribution helps support the efforts of those who make CopBlock possible. So please join the CopBlock network now at copblock.lrn.fm. That's copblock.lrn.fm.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. You can help by joining the AMP program for just $5 a month at amp.freetalklive.com and getting perks. That's amp.freetalklive.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Back now with more Free Talk Live. Join us on the radio here at 855-450 free. We've got Skype. You can Skype into the show here. Our username is LRN.FM. Got an update on the Eric Garner case. We'll tell you more about that here in a moment. Plus, also news about El Chapo, who we told you about last night at the very end of the show. He escaped from prison a second time, and now he has taken to Twitter and apparently is threatening Donald Trump. We'll give you more details about that. But also, I want you to know about purse.freetalklive.com. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you can shop at Amazon where you are, you can use Purse to save big time. Now, you can use Purse Instant to buy instantly on Amazon and save 5% right off the top. Or if you're willing to wait for a little bit, sometimes as long as a day, sometimes as short as a few hours or less, you can get 20% off of Amazon. Whatever you buy on Amazon, imagine getting 20 to 25% off or even more, perhaps.
Yeah, there's no way to do this. I think people are just, okay, so we get 1,000 pieces, this is what they say, 1,000 pieces of advertising in a given day. I think if you're in Las Vegas.
We as individuals hearing and experiencing 1,000?
Human beings in like the United States.
Yeah, the average person. Okay,
I think it's triple that in Las Vegas, by the way. But what our minds can't handle that kind of information.
Right. It's a lot of ads.
And so our minds lock out information on advertising until it is highly relevant. And in many cases, it locks that out too. Well, this is the information that is highly relevant. You can't get 20 to 25% off of things on Amazon because those prices are pretty much the prices of things. But this is everything, right? Like the TV you want to get,
20% off.
The electronics you're looking to get, whatever those might be.
Yeah.
Maybe the smartphone.
I just ordered a pair of headphones.
Yeah,
20. I think I put that one at 29% off, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do this anyplace else. This is an opportunity unlike you experience, and all you have to do is acquire some Bitcoins and go open an account at purse.freetalklive.com.
You can actually open the account and then acquire your Bitcoins if you want.
You should go first, open your account at purse.freetalklive.com, and then acquire some Bitcoins. You can do it through expresscoin.com.
Easy. Yeah, they make it easy.
And actually, Purse will let you do it there too, but it's not as good of a deal.
Yeah, Express Coin's got the best deal. You definitely want to go through Express Coin. But yeah, I put a pair of headphones. I had a pair of headphones break on me, unfortunately, and of course it's past the 90-day warranty period. So these professional pair of headphones. Yeah,
that's right. You're wearing the old cans there, man.
Yeah. So I went and I put another pair of headphones on over at Purse.
These are the expensive ones that you really, really liked, man, and they broke on you.
That's what happens, man. Things go bad sometimes.
All
Never
right.
know. You never know. But yeah, Amazon price $89.99. My price when it was done and over with $67. I mean, I saved 29%.
This is like getting a raise.
It was filled within a day. So, you can't guarantee you're going to get 29%. It just depends on the market, right? But the average purchase at Purse is 20% in the United States, a 20% discount. And if you think about it, it's only that because people are in a rush, right? Like they won't set it much higher because they want to get it filled sooner. It's pretty cool. I love it. I've been using it since before they came on board with Free Talk Live as a supporter. And so you can go to purse.freetalklive.com and
your
get
support is the reason that they came on board. As a matter of fact,
that's true.
Yeah, as a matter, if you started your account earlier, because we talked about it, it would be awesome if you went ahead and started a new one at purse.freetalklive.com, because then we'd get credit for it.
I would like to know if there's a way to actually have somebody who's already got an account at Purse to kind of go underneath Free Talk Live.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my experience with their customer service is they're super awesome and really helpful. So I don't know if anyone has asked them that question, if that is something that's possible. But either way, go to purse.freetalklive.com to get started. All right, so let's see. There's the news about Eric Garner. He, as you may recall, is the man who is dead at the hands of a New York police officer. The update in that case from countercurrentnews.com is that New York City officials say the family of Eric Garner has rejected the cash settlement offer of $5 million.
Whoa.
Rejected it. The money was offered in order to settle the suit filed in the wrongful death of Garner, age 43, after a New York police officer choked him to death for selling loose cigarettes in New York City. It was caught on video, and it was absolutely horrifying. The Garner family is said to have refused the offer, saying they will ask instead for a more punishing suit of $75 million within the week. The suit has to be filed by the 17th of this month.
It doesn't punish the officers.
No, it certainly doesn't. But it maybe it will hurt their insurance on the police department, because each police department generally has to carry some sort of insurance.
Yep.
And for every time they are sued, and every time, especially when they are sued successfully, the insurance rates go up. And so there is some level of incentive for the police department to not go totally insane with police abuse. But, of course, the New York Police Department tends to get away with whatever kind of abuse they want to get away with.
The bigger the department, it's, well, I don't even know. Many departments just don't have accountability.
Right. In this case, it's very little accountability. I'm not saying that the fact that departments are insured is going to protect. Obviously, it hasn't. It hasn't stopped things like Eric Garner from happening. But the higher those insurance rates go, the more likely the department brass are to try to do something to keep their officers in line. Not that I believe that it's going to do much of anything, but it's something. It is a very small measure of accountability it does exist. So for what it's worth, they're going after him big time. $75 million. The suit has to be filed by the 17th of this month, which is the anniversary of Garner's death.
So here's what I want to know for people listening, because I've heard all kinds of explanations, both for and against this, is does this $5 million mean that the city of New York believes that it's wrong? Is it just offering $5 million to say, hey, get out of here, quit bothering us? $5 million's chump change. We throw that kind of stuff around for lunch. Or
yeah, I think so.
Is it them saying, yeah, we were wrong, definitely wrong, and
they won't admit that?
Yeah.
I mean, when, for instance, here in Keene, New Hampshire, when they dropped the disorderly conduct charges against me for drinking out of a brown bottle in the city council meeting, I was arrested for that, charged with disorderly conduct. And then after a year, they dropped the charges right before trial. The day before trial, they dropped the charges. And when I asked the city attorney if this was a tacit admission that they actually had no case and that it was, essentially illegal to do what they did, he, of course, denied it. Oh, well, that's, we're just dropping the charges. That doesn't mean anything.
It's just what we do.
Yeah. So, this is interesting because a lot of people would take the deal. A lot of people would say, $5 million? Okay, that's fine. We'll take it. But these guys aren't. And that shows a level of, seriousness. They really are.
That's what it means to you, level of seriousness? Because it doesn't necessarily mean that to me.
Yeah.
What it means, because a lot of people treat lawsuits in the United States as though it's the lottery. And yay, we won the lottery. And
but how many people are willing to roll the dice on, $5 million, right? This is a little different from the lottery. This is, you've got guaranteed $5 million knocking on your front door, and you're saying, nope, $75 million.
Hold on. Let me give you an explanation. The lawyers are going to get some of this, right?
Oh, I bet they'll get 60% of it.
The lawyers are probably pretty rich already.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is legal or not, but the lawyer could be very well feeding them money now, saying, and this guy was selling Lucy cigarettes. I'm guessing his family's not very wealthy.
Probably.
Feeding them money now in order to just so that they can, live and maybe live well, because the lawyer believes that they're going to get a much larger settlement and wants a portion of a much larger settlement. So, upon his advice, it's not like they're going to lose the $5 million. They're going for the $75 million because the city's already offered the $5 million.
But if they lose the case, they don't get the $5 million.
They're going to settle at $75 if they think they're going to lose the case.
I don't know about that.
Most civil cases are settled, and these lawyers, their lawyers, are likely the ones that believe that they've got a winning case.
Well, it could just simply be that they won't ever go to trial because I see what you're saying. They might settle for $50 million or something like that. They're rejecting the initial offer.
A jury of their peers is going to decide whether the city was wrong. A jury of the family's peers is going to decide whether the city was wrong.
They won't. A jury of people who will be chosen by mostly the state will make this decision, not their peers.
This is New York City. It has a high ethnic population, and many ethnicities feel disenfranchised by their government. I don't think the city wants to take that chance.
We'll come back. You can share your thoughts here. 855-450-FREE. The latest from El Chapo, the man who escaped from Mexican prison twice. He is on the run, and he ran out of there. Actually, he drove out of there, apparently on a motorcycle, in an underground tunnel. A lighted one. It's Free Talk Live.
I'm Steve Sidkowski, a former Wall Street insider. I'm holding a book that will show you investing strategies which could help you earn the kind of money you've always dreamed about. And right now, I'm giving this book away for free. So who needs to read it? If you're in the middle of your career and worry you'll never have enough money to retire, you need to read this book. If you're already retired and your income isn't enough, you need to read this book. And if you don't want to be selling burgers at 80, you need to read this free book. It includes the strategy I use to make a 72% profit on a trade where the stock only moved 12%. You'll need at least $1 million to ever fully retire. If you're behind on that goal, you really need to read Trade Like the Pros. And you can for free by calling 1-800-944-5836. Skeptical that it will deliver results? It's a free book, so what do you have to lose? Find out how at 1-800-944-5836. 1-800-944-5836.
All right, so suddenly Walmart, eBay, Amazon, everybody wants to ban the rebel flag. Well, the rebel flag is an important part of American history. The rebel flag is still a long-standing symbol of Southern pride and Southern heritage. So if the big retailers want to play into political correctness and try to deny the history of America, let them. Go to ourflags.com. That's R like rebel, R, the letter R, ourflags.com. Get your rebel flag before they actually do outlaw the things, huh? Ourflags.com. That's ourflags.com. Go now.
Did you know some countries are now banning GMO foods? It's true. That's why for quality storable foods, you need Ready-Made Resources. For over 19 years, we've become the name you can trust for thousands of products, like Numana Healthy Food Storage. All Numana storable foods are non-GMO, non-soy, and gluten-free available. Call 800-627-3809 or click ReadyMadeResources.com. Ready-Made Resources. We don't just sell the products, we live it.
Keenvention is coming up October 30th through November 1st. Get your tickets now at keenvention.info. Keenvention is your chance to meet dozens of key liberty activists from across the Shire. Explore Keene, discuss various forms of activism with seasoned veterans, do some Robin Hooding, and learn about making the move. Visit keenvention.info for full video coverage of every speaker and panel from 2013 on. This year, Activist of the Year Daryl W. Perry and Chris Cantwell will be keynoting. Join old and new friends and neighbors in Keene for Keenvention this October 30th through November 1st. Only 100 tickets are available in advance, so lock yours in now for just $60 or pay with Bitcoin. That includes access to the Hallow Keene Costume Dance Party. Reserve your tickets now at keenvention.info. Visit keenvention.info for more speaker announcements or look for our page and event on Facebook. That's keenvention.info. keenvention.info. You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
This is Mark of Free Talk Live. We've been witnessing a meltdown of the economic engine that powers our country. With a printing press tethered to Washington bureaucrats and New York central bankers, how can we trust paper money? For years, I've been buying gold and silver from Midas Resources, and you should too. Call 877-357-9938 for a free book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold, or go to gold.freetalklive.com. Again, 877-357-9938. 877-357-9938.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and of course you can join us here if you want. The number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Last night we talked about El Chapo, the Mexican drug lord who is out of prison, and he escaped. And it was actually his second escape from prison in 15 years. He went initially back in the early part of the aughts, and
he runs like a bunny.
Yeah, he escaped in a cart of dirty laundry back in the day, and then stayed out. He was actually on the lam for over a decade until they finally caught him again and put him into prison again. This time he escaped via an elaborate tunnel that had been built up to the prison and underground that had been hollowed out, and actually there was lighting in the tunnel apparently. And then we'll tell you more about that here in a moment. A fascinating story, but he is out and he's on Twitter now apparently, and he has tweeted at Donald Trump. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, and let me tell you, it is not a friendly tweet to Donald Trump. We will continue to tell you about El Chapo, which, by the way, means shorty. It's apparently El Chapo is slang for shorty.
So Donald Trump isn't going to let this go by, right? The man is a consummate showman. He's as much of a blowhard as he is as
that's just
entrepreneur.
It. El Chapo was responding to something else Trump had said.
Oh, I know.
Let's go first, though, to Brian. He's on the line in Nashua, I believe. Brian, you're on Free Talk Live via Skype.
Hey, Ann. I actually called in the past. I talked to Mark and Cantwell probably a couple weeks before PorcFest when Cantwell was still on, in regards to Molyneux and why you came off the air. I do think it was ironic that you talk about he kind of actually makes a big issue out of these rape issues and campus cultures. So I mean, I always thought that I just kind of want to get your elaboration on why you think he wouldn't be an ally in this type of movement.
Oh, I didn't say he isn't necessarily an ally. I think Stefan Molyneux has done a lot of good work for the ideas of freedom. There's no doubt about that. A lot of people have been educated by him, and I appreciate all of that.
He might be the most successful liberty-oriented broadcaster.
Well, he's not a broadcaster by definition.
Podcaster.
But anyway, I mean, actually, as far as why I took him off of the Liberty Radio Network, he was saying some things that I found were kind of disturbing about women. He was claiming to have the truth about everything. There, of course, were already the claims about the cult that sort of surrounds him, and I just was getting less and less comfortable with having him on the air. And ultimately, as you know, he used copyright against a critic, to silence critics on YouTube, which I had a big problem with. So if I was feeling bad about taking him off, I certainly didn't feel bad after that happened.
I asked for valid criticisms of Molyneux, and that's the only one I could find that's not only valid, but it's also very pertinent of hypocrisy. So,
yeah, this is, by the way, a man who, you mentioned hypocrisy. This is a guy who has said on his radio show that he does not support intellectual property. So he doesn't believe in intellectual property, but yet he used the DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, to enforce his view of what should and should not be allowed on YouTube.
And that's true. I was just like, if it was in regards to the men's rights issues, or in this case, what is rape? Basically the fake rape epidemic that we see on college campuses. I mean, I did think he was an important voice, but
further, Brian, he also, when confronted with what he did not apologize. He stood by his manager, who had pulled the plug on the critical YouTube channel, and he did not say that he was sorry. He did not say, "Oh my gosh, what have we done?" And certainly, he was given multitudes of opportunities to do that.
Yeah, I believe he dodged the question when he's been confronted on the air. But I just wanted to get your opinion, because he is an important person, and for the Truth About series, I mean, for somebody that's been kind of looking on in, and it's people that are listening, the Truth About series is basically an attempt to get viewers. It's nothing less than what the mainstream media does. They put a giant headline out there, and then they suck in viewers for something that's not really controversial. So
I get where you're coming from.
I kind of get what you're getting at.
Thanks for the call, Brian. Appreciate hearing from you tonight. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. So El Chapo has taken to Twitter to respond to Donald Trump. According to the Daily Mail, this is just hours after his escape from prison, from a supposed maximum security prison in Mexico. He has now begun taunting authorities and threatening U.S. presidential hopeful Donald Trump. Joaquin Guzman, the billionaire head of the powerful Sinaloa cartel, made his break on Saturday morning and is on the run from the Altiplano jail in Mexico, outside of Mexico City, about 50 miles. His audacious escape saw him dash through a mile-long tunnel system, which led to, I thought there was a motorcycle in there, maybe not, led to a building under construction next to the prison, from where he collected clothes that had been left for him by his conspirators. Further,
can you imagine being? See, this is the problem: is that in Mexico they can't hold him because he's so wealthy. He probably got out the first time because, well, he paid somebody to push him out in a dirty cart of dirty laundry, and this time he paid people to dig a hole.
Sure did.
But dig a tunnel underneath. I mean, he's that wealthy.
It's awesome. It's really impressive.
What I find interesting is that somebody doesn't just take his wealth while he's in prison. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you mean the other gang members in the Sinaloa cartel?
Yeah. I mean, like,
well, there are probably some people who are loyal to him in the cartel still, and they wouldn't stand for that.
There's like, purges go on.
I know what you're saying. Like, these are criminals, and they're going to stab each other in the back. But there's still some honor among people in the drug business.
Well, the claim is that many of the California gangs are run from inside prisons too. That prison gangs have a great deal of reach outside. I don't get it. I spent 8.5 years in a Florida prison, and I do not understand how in the world people are running gangs from prison, how they keep that level of loyalty up. There didn't seem to be that level of loyalty when I was in prison amongst thieves. There seemed to be no loyalty at all. And the statement goes that there is no honor among thieves.
Well, these aren't thieves. We're talking about drug dealers here. These are people who are doing business. Now, sometimes that business can get a little messy.
Very violent individuals.
Sometimes there is some violence involved here, but this guy also has sort of there's other articles about him talking about how he had this Robin Hood mystique among a lot of the people in Mexico. Sometimes the drug cartel members actually provide better protection for the people in some places in Mexico than do the police and the government.
Sure.
So, they're not all necessarily bad people on all aspects. There are certainly some of them that are very, very bad people. But if you're within the cartel, presumably if he's got some, let's call them lieutenants or whatever, people that are underneath him, but also controlling some of the soldiers, the lower-end people in the cartel. Odds are good. Some of them appreciate the fact that Guapo has not killed them and has given them the the chance to be at the high-ranking level, and they're willing to keep the seat warm for
What's
him,
his
so
name?
to
Is that
speak.
Guapo?
I'm sorry, El Chapo.
Chapo.
I apologize about that.
Chapo's probably not Guapo at all.
Donald Trump has previously said that Guzman embodies, quote, everything that is wrong with Mexico, and further said he would kick his ass. However, following his escape, this guy opened his mouth, and now he's got the attention of one of the most powerful men in the world, more powerful, arguably.
I hope he's talking about kick his ass in a sort of, if I were president, I would send the military after him to kick his ass thing, because the U.S. military could certainly take on this guy's operation. However, I wouldn't put my money on Donald Trump in a fair bare knuckle fight in Las Vegas against El Chapo.
So apparently Trump tweeted this about El Chapo after El Chapo's escape. So this all happened over the weekend. He escaped. Trump tweets about it. And so on an account administered by Guzman's son, Ivan, there's Ivan has his own account, but also there is a El Chapo account that is administered by Ivan. The escapee reportedly wrote, quote, "If you keep pissing me off, I'm going to make you eat your words, you effing blonde milk -S, and then a bunch of asterisks." So I'm not sure what the S word is there. Milkshake? Sucker? Apparently it's a homophobic slur, so that might give you maybe it's like you're a sea sucker, basically, would be my guess.
I don't want to go speculating on the air as to what this means, but let's just say it's not very nice.
Yeah.
And let's also just say that this
couldn't have happened to
what's his name, Chapo?
El Chapo.
El Chapo has probably killed a lot of people. Yeah. And when he threatens to come after you,
you better look out.
You'd better look out.
I bet you Donald Trump's increasing his security contingent as we speak.
The problem is now that he's gone and run his yik-yacker about it, he's going to have to. I mean, this is his whole thing, right? Bravado.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to have to continue to talk crap.
Wow.
Which means he's going to die.
Which would be really fascinating to watch. Not that I wish it on anyone. I certainly don't. But wow, you just messed with the head drug boss of the Western world, Donald Trump. We'll see how that turns out for you.
Cato University is the Cato Institute's premier educational event of the year. It's being held this year from July the 26th to the 31st at the Cato Institute's state-of-the-art headquarters in Washington, D.C. This annual program brings together outstanding faculty and participants from across the country and often from around the globe, with everyone sharing a commitment to liberty and learning. Cato University is a genuine community, and you can freely share viewpoints, concerns, ideas, questions, and more in an atmosphere of friendship and personal respect. It's a one-of-a-kind program for people who don't stop thinking after they got out of school. It's for people who don't want politicians or bureaucrats or officials to do their thinking for them. It's for people who value liberty. You'll learn, you'll be inspired, you'll make new friends. You'll meet great people from around the world. All of the details are spelled out at the Cato website, cato.org, and they hope to see you there this summer, July the 26th through the 31st in Washington, D.C. Again, details are at cato.org.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
The live edition of Liberty Conspiracy is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, July 13th, 2015. Silver is trading at $15.52 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,156 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $290. Antiwar.com reports administration officials report they are determined to launch a full-scale drone attack against the Islamic State in Libya, including surveillance operations and potential strikes against the Islamic State forces on the ground in the North African country. All they need is a base. That's proving tougher than imagined, as officials concede that so far not a single nation has expressed any openness to hosting a U.S. drone base. Many are said to be afraid that they would be making themselves more of a target for the Islamic State and housing U.S. forces. The Obama administration's recent diplomatic moves in northern Africa, removing restrictions on military aid to the Egyptian junta and declaring Tunisia a major non-NATO ally, are both seen as attempts to butter the respective nations up as a potential host. How successful those efforts will be is unclear. Tunisia is eager to move against the Islamic State after recent strikes, but the obvious vulnerability of the tourism-dependent nation makes hosting a U.S. base too dangerous. Egypt, by contrast, could likely weather any fallout from the Islamic State retaliation, but may insist on the U.S. sharing more intelligence and operational control than the administration would be willing to give up. FPP Radio News is brought to you by Bitcoin Not Bombs. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. UPI reports 5 men were rescued on Saturday after drifting in the Pacific Ocean for days in a small vessel with limited supplies and no motor, according to the U.S. Coast Guard. The men were reported missing Wednesday after departing from a fishing trip on Monday from Tirena Island, Kiribati. During search operations on Friday, an HC-130 Hercules aircrew based out of Oahu, Hawaii, spotted the men drifting 184 miles east-northeast of Tirena, which lies about 1,000 miles south of Hawaii. The men reportedly had limited supplies and no life-saving equipment aboard the 14-foot skiff not equipped with a motor. The Shorong Harmony, a Chinese bulk carrier sailing under the flag of Panama, picked the men up on Saturday after the Coast Guard air crews dropped supplies including food, water, locator beacons, radios, signal mirrors, and flares. According to the Coast Guard, the men were in good condition when rescued. For over 35 years, Robertson Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports the National Board of Directors of prominent U.S. civil rights group, the NAACP, voted on Saturday to end a 15-year boycott of South Carolina, prompted by the display of the Confederate battle flag on state capitol grounds. The resolution was approved during the NAACP's annual convention in Philadelphia. The Confederate battle flag in South Carolina was removed from State House grounds on Friday to chants of USA, USA. After 3 weeks of emotional debate over the banner, the Confederate battle flag was raised atop the South Carolina State House dome in 1961 as part of a centennial commemoration of the American Civil War. Critics said its placement was a sign of opposition by politicians to the civil rights movement at the time. In a separate action earlier in the week, National Collegiate Athletic Association President Mark Emmert said his organization was removing all barriers to South Carolina hosting championship-level college sports events now that the Confederate battle flag had been removed from the state capitol grounds. The NCAA, the major organization of U.S. intercollegiate athletics, had prohibited predetermined postseason competition in South Carolina